On this episode of No Quarters, it's the last episode of 2012 ever, and if Maya Angelou is correct, it's the last podcast you'll ever hear. It's the NoQuarters.net favorite of the year, the FOTY!
All right, welcome to No Quarters, episode 45.
It's a motherfucking video game podcast.
FOTY5 with the FOTYs, favorites of the year for 2012.
The motherfucking FOTYs.
Sure.
M-FOTYs.
M-FOTYs.
I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ.
I am Chuck.
And I'm Harlow.
And we haven't played everything this year. So that's why we don't call it Game of the Year.
Right.
For yourself.
Those are favorites of the year.
Sure.
Well, Chuck has played everything, but the rest of us haven't.
Well, we also kind of... We don't necessarily go on like all technical merits. We go like, hey, I played this game the most, therefore it's kind of my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of
somewhat.
That it's all in the name. It's the FOTY.
We each have our own criteria, but
Sure.
favorites like, hey, we liked it. Your mileage may vary, but hey,
Right.
Yeah.
if you like us, you will agree with us.
Right.
And if you don't, then you're a dick. So
Okay.
What it
now
boils,
everyone just shut it off. So cool.
yeah. And what it boils down to is basically these are the best games
Yeah.
of the year because we said so.
Mhm.
Yeah. Agree
Sure.
with us or you're wrong.
Yeah,
Because they are our favorites.
right. Because they're our favorites. They're the best.
Therefore,
Yeah.
they are the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would earn them a Metascore of 100.
Yeah. If you don't agree, change your mind.
Right.
Yes. And
That's-
the rest will follow.
follow.
No, I'm not freeing you're not freeing your mind. You're changing your mind.
Oh. I like
Nothing in life is
I like
free.
to free LC my mind.
Oh.
Free LC.
God damn it.
Hey, that's video game related.
Right off
Uh-huh.
the bat.
So
Free LC.
Already
Anyway.
derailed.
got a bunch of categories this year, and let's just start off with our most pleasant surprises / overlooked games.
Okay.
Stuff
Yeah.
we thought either wasn't going to do crap and ended up being awesome,
Mhm.
or ended up being awesome and nobody noticed. So,
Just celebrating the world of things that are good,
yeah,
surprisingly.
exactly. That's what the FOTYs are all about, Chuck.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. I was here
That's
last
the
year.
theme for the FOTYs.
Oh.
It's FOTY, the final FOTYs
Yeah.
ever,
We
ever of 2012.
Man, it's a lot of pressure.
We're all counting on you.
Let's start off. I think we're all going to agree on that we had no expectations on whatsoever when it came out, but
Mhm.
Forza Horizon.
I knew it would be fun. I didn't know it would be great.
Yeah. We didn't realize that it would be kind of awesome.
I was
Like in almost every regard.
I was slightly actively annoyed that there was another Forza game coming out so soon.
Yeah, and also the idea of, oh, well, do we really need an arcadey Forza? I mean, that's not really Forza's thing. It's like, sort of like they said, like, hey, here's Gran Turismo Arcade. It'd be like, fuck you. I play something else arcadey.
Yeah.
By Criterion people.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
saying it was arcade was their hook to get people to play it.
Sure.
Because it's really not that arcadey at all.
It's pretty deep if you want it to be.
If you
Yeah.
want it to be. Yeah, it's that it gives you the freedom to, like, if you just want to smash into walls and have no damage and blah, 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 well, you're not going to get it rewarded, but,
Me.
Mhm.
you know.
It encourages you to take whichever direction you want with it, which
Right.
is good.
Yeah.
Like Forza 4, definitely geared towards the gearhead sim racer sort of thing. This one, it kind of puts it on the table and says, you know, it's like a taco bar. Take whatever you'd like, you know, make your own driving taco.
Huh.
Well, yeah. Well, they took everything that was good about Forza, the previous ones, and made it easily accessible.
Yes.
Because those games could be pretty impenetrable if you weren't a gearhead into, okay, what cars are awesome, what races are doing this. If you weren't into all that, Forza could be kind of a slog to get through.
Well,
And
90%
this
of
made it
racers,
fun.
you know, people that play racing games are just, like, push the gas all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Make car go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of having a driving line where it's, okay, you're hitting the gas all the time, but here's a little suggestion for you, buddy.
Yeah, that little red line means you should probably hit the brakes.
hmm Or you can just tell it to hit the brakes for you.
Or that.
Right.
Yeah.
A testament to how good this game is and how much I actually enjoy it. I was in big blue and yellow box store looking for a different game, and they had Forza Horizon on one of the demo Xboxes. I'm like, I'll go play play a race. And so I picked up the controller, and for 15 minutes, while I was supposed to be looking for another game, playing Forza.
Sure.
That's what happened. It sold out while you were playing Forza Horizon. There was a mad rush.
Well, yeah, I did the same thing where I had moved on from it, if only to play other games. So I didn't just talk about Forza on the podcast.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I went back in to accept friend requests into our car club and ended up playing the rest of that night. Like, even though I was only going to go in, accept the people, and then get out. It was like, nope, I'm here for like 4 hours.
I hear dubstep. I'm most afraid.
Yep.
Well,
exactly.
And that's why as soon as I was done with it, I gave it to BJ for him to play because I was like, I will keep playing this.
Mm-hmm.
I will just keep driving around in this game. So it needs to go away for a while so I can move on.
And none of us have picked up the DLC yet, but
no, but soon.
Yeah, the rally pack, but it's $20, so we'd probably be waiting for a sale before any of us grab it. But yeah, but it's a great game, and we expected not so great. So yeah, way exceeded expectations.
I think we expected good. We didn't expect it to be amazing, which it turned out to be. So I'll let you talk about the next one because you are hardcore into this game more than I am, and I sort of discovered it for you.
Yeah, those who listened way back when, I believe one of us described the Asura's Wrath demo. And I was like, this sounds like nothing I want to play ever. Because it's quick time events and weird Japanesey stuff. Mm-hmm. And holy crap, was I wrong about Asura's Wrath. Because that game, I love the hell out of that game. I love all the weird craziness about it. I love all the challenges that it's got. And you just don't get games like this out of the West at all.
Which playthrough are you on now?
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay.
I think 4th.
Okay.
I think. I mean, it's not that long a game, especially if you're playing for points and skipping cutscenes and stuff. There are levels you can beat in 90 seconds. So, but if you were to watch all of the cinematics, which I think I showed Harlow the first couple levels.
I saw some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also realized just the insanity that game unleashes right off the bat.
In watching that, I realized that the reason probably the demo didn't make any sense is because I think it was like Act 3 or Story 3.
The 5th level.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine. I want to almost go back and download the demo to see how the hell that game was presented. Because I can't imagine.
It just literally drops you into that where you're fighting the big, giant, crazy Buddha guy.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and it was just like, what? It doesn't even really give you what you're supposed to do. It's just like, hey, figure this out.
It's a good level for them to pick. But but I mean, that game, like I said, just all of the elements of it that exist, I should hate, and yet I love the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So
I never thought I would actively enjoy quick time events like I do. So
they integrate them well into the story that's going on screen, and that's
it gives you something to do while you're watching the anime.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do with quick time events is give them a logical reason and timing for being there, and that's what that game does.
Mm-hmm.
Next on the list, we got PlayStation Plus, actually turning into something usable and worth the money.
Yeah, by a lot.
Yes, I mean, now it's like if you have a PlayStation and you don't have this, you're kind of dumb.
Well, I ended up the rest of our listeners.
No,
I mean, if you have a PlayStation,
he's got a point.
Yeah, I mean, like it just does everything right. I mean, cloud saves are great on the PlayStation. I mean, literally, you start up a game that supports cloud saves. Says, hey, you want to use this? Yes. Then you're done. Like that's it. Not like Xbox where it's like, pick your cloud boo, and then maybe it's synchronized, maybe it's not. I don't know. Oh crap, it's all gone and my game's erased. You get the free games. You get discounts all the time.
The free games
that's the big one.
Yeah,
in a month, you've already paid for your PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, and then you also get like the auto patching thing, which is great.
That in itself is worth money.
That's one of those things that it really shouldn't be something that you have to pay for.
Yeah,
but it is a really nice perk.
And and
it's one of those things that you shouldn't necessarily have to pay for, but when you see that you can pay to get it, it's a really big draw.
Well, it's a bullet point on a list of a lot of great things.
Right.
It's like free games, updates automatically, and
then what? Like a month and a half ago, they made it even better because they were like, hey, if you have a Vita, it's that too.
Yeah,
it's all one thing.
Yeah,
and now they're pushing. They have PlayStation 3s and Vitas for sale that come with 1 year of Plus. I mean, that's the pack-in thing.
Yeah,
I mean, just to go like, hey, you should have this if you have.
I don't know how they got publishers on board with it because it's like if I just had a PlayStation 3, I don't know if I'd ever buy games.
No, That's why
I mean,
put
they're
that
just
up on
giving
Twitter.
away
Yeah.
full stuff.
I put that on Twitter yesterday. I was like, Amazon had $50 off the PlayStation 3 with 1 year plus. I was like, hey, buy this and you will probably never need to buy another game ever.
I think right now publishers are okay with it because the market share of the PlayStation is lower than everything else.
Sure.
So they're not too worried. But, I mean, if the thing takes off, you could probably see other publishers, pulling back on that. But still, Sony, does a lot of first-party stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll just be like, I don't care, put our Sony games
at this
up
point,
there.
that is so much better a value than Xbox Live. It's not even funny.
Oh, it's not even they don't even compare
Yeah.
at this point, which I never thought I'd say that.
It's basically like a video game subscription service.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is basically where game systems should be moving towards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
big surprise.
Yeah. Huge surprise. Next up, WWE 13 story mode.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that this game was going to have like the Attitude Era stuff in it, but I didn't know to what extent. So sitting down with this story and having it be just a total recreation of all the stuff when wrestling was actually fun, basically it's like a 1997 wrestling game, but pretty and functional. So that to me is just a huge surprise that they pulled off something actually remotely interesting and didn't make it another story about Sheamus.
Well, I think it could also go under surprising because like it just shows how much they've given up on like, you know what, nobody cares about the shit we're doing now.
Yeah, it's like
we have to
the
go
current
back
stuff, no one
15
cares.
years before anyone's going to care.
Yeah, and that's very smart on their move because they were right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit I was surprised that you guys both bought WWE 13 because I really had heard nothing about it. And then when you guys were talking about it, I was like, well, that, I'm not an old school wrestling, not even a 90s wrestling fan, but
yeah.
That stuff sounded a hell of a lot more interesting to me than, last year's Randy Orton crappy theme music and Sheamus, and playing as guys you hate.
Well, and I mean, simply from a production value standpoint, the fact that they're pulling audio from the old events and working it in, and they've paid a great deal of attention to detail. I'm just impressed that they pulled something like that off because usually they just shit out a wrestling game every year. It's like, here's an updated roster of wrestling. So I hope they continue this. Yeah,
and it's nice that there's just somebody there who wants to do something better.
Yeah.
And not just recycle what they did the previous year.
Although, today THQ declared bankruptcy, so who knows where this thing is going to end up. So
yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen. But if they never do anything like this again, hey, we got this really great thing. Like last year we had WWE All-Stars, which was awesome. In a totally different way, but still awesome. So this year we got this unique thing, and so
that's good to hear.
Yeah. Next is a game we haven't talked about because I played it between the last podcast and this one, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit now. Spec Ops: The Line, which came out over the summer and did nothing. No one cared, but that is probably one of my 2 or 3 favorite military shooters of this generation. I'd put it up there with Blops, the first one, and I love the hell out of that game. It's nothing short of amazing. I mean, it's kind of short. It's probably about 5 hours on normal difficulty, but the setting and the situation that you're in, which is the whole thing is basically sort of a reworking of Hearts of Darkness. So it's based on that a little bit. They change a lot of it up, but the situation you're in is unique, and the stuff that you encounter is certainly unique, and it is not a hooray kill things game. It's almost an shooter, which is really strange for a game to be able to pull off. Like, you do stuff in that game and you're like, wow, video games are terrible.
Well, they make you feel bad about shooting people.
Yes, exactly. It makes you think about the violence.
Yeah.
Which is rather a remarkable statement that a video game can do that, and that someone allowed a video game maker to do that. So, I mean, we all haven't talked about this game yet, but all of you need to play it. It's really something special.
I will. Yeah. I mean, and apparently Nolan North, who's the main character,
the star
is
of the game.
Pretty damn good performance.
Yes,
as well.
he is. And there's someone else in it who's really good that we'll talk about when we get to best character. I don't want to talk about it yet, but spoilers.
Well, you got another game that's got a whole bunch of characters you like as well.
Binary Domain, which is a game that Sega just shit out at the first part of this year. Just threw it out there, didn't promote it, didn't even tell anybody what it was. It was like, here's a game with a generic title and a generic cover. Go. It is a very Japanese take on Blade Runner / The Terminator.
Okay.
With a lot of Dreamcast era elements to it, but with a fully fleshed out Western storyline like a story that makes sense no matter how batshit crazy it is. It makes sense and it's well acted and the characters are fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good 9 to 10 hour third person shooter, squad based at times, where you are just battling the most ridiculous robots. I mean, the whole thing, you're just basically killing robots, just swarms and swarms of robots through this entire game. But
Robopocalypse.
But
I like killing robots.
Like the boss battles that you're always building to something, and then the thing that they bring out, like, oh, it's this. Oh no, it's that. I mean, it's like Japan is crazy,
and I love them for it.
So
I'm glad when Japan gets to make games that aren't JRPGs.
Yeah,
I think that's the difference. So much of what comes out of Japan has been associated more with JRPGs and okay, I'm going to be playing this for 60 hours and that's keeps people like me from playing a lot of Japanese games, whereas you've got stuff like this and like Asura's Wrath where it's like, okay, you can play this in probably 5, 6, 7 hours and have a good time and get a crazy story and kind of get that whole experience that you might get from an RPG, but just in a time frame that's not going to take you a month to play through.
Yeah, this was the Yakuza team that makes all those games. This was basically their attempt to make a Western style game. So it's got the story sensibilities that make sense to us, but it's got all the crazy visuals and over the top action stuff from Japanese games because that's all they know how to do.
Yeah.
And the blend of the two is really great. They pulled it off somehow. I don't know how they pulled it off. I mean, the story is complete. I mean, start to finish, it makes sense. And it concludes well, and you care about the characters and such. So I'm really angry at Sega for shitting that game out there because it sold 20,000 copies.
Total?
That's it.
Wow. 18,000 of them went to Chuck.
Yeah, so I'll be giving some away at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, and THQ is going out of business.
They'll just show up in your stocking.
Yeah, so...
But I guess they don't have a whole bunch of properties to just pimp out.
No, they give all those away on the Humble Bundle.
Yeah,
exactly. Can't just shit out a Sonic game.
No.
Yeah, I got one quick one that's not on the list that you guys are looking at.
Okay.
I thought we were keeping separate lists for this year to make some surprises, but I talked about it last episode, and I got to throw Gravity Rush on that list because
I've already forgotten what that is.
I wouldn't have even
remotely
thought of picking up that game based on title alone. That sounds stupid and dumb, and yeah, I mean, because of PlayStation Plus, I tried this game out, and it's pretty amazing. It's just a neat little platformer type adventure game that.
Yeah, I believe it's only on Vita, right?
Yes, it is a Vita only game. So yeah, I mean,
so that's why you've never remembered it, Chuck.
Yeah, Vita.
Yeah, good job, Chuck.
But yeah, I talked a little bit about it last week.
All 10 Vita owners are pissed off at you now.
I was surprised at how good that game was.
I'll give them a free copy of Binary Domain. That'll appease them.
Yeah, but speaking of PlayStation downloadables and Vita downloadables, Sound Shapes.
Yes,
which is on both
Shapes
systems.
Of sound.
Buy it on one, get it on both.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, a fun little puzzle game with some really good music in it and some really good art direction as far as each world having its designs, own cohesive feel despite being completely different art styles. But they all play similarly. They put a few twists in each different level, but they use the colors and the noise of all the characters in the game to key you in exactly to what can hurt you, what helps you, all those things. It's like they found a way to have completely different art styles in each level and yet have the gameplay be cohesive and you automatically know what you're supposed to be doing in each area, which is really amazing that they pulled it off.
Yeah. Plus it's a pretty unique thing as far as like bringing together different game designers to do levels for it. I mean, you've got the Super Brothers people on there. You've got, I'm trying to think what else. There's other.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff that's in like 4-bit style, like Atari 2600 style. There's hand illustrated looking levels that, there's just some really amazing looking stuff in that game and then some really great music too.
Yeah. I just saw it for the first time tonight, watching Harlow play it a little bit, and it did take me by surprise. I was like, wow, this is a clever yet intuitive game that's looks awesome and sounds awesome. Where did this come from? Yeah. I need this.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's to a lesser extent, but it like reminds me of something kind of odd where it's like it's almost like something you should experience just for the history of gameplay, like Poker Night at the Inventory. Not a fantastic game, but it's like, wow, you've got characters from all these different things kind of coming together, and this is weird. It's like whenever you have those weird little greatest hits things where it's like, oh, that's interesting that character from this completely other studio, they got together and was like, put that together, do this.
Yeah. But that game was sadly very overlooked. I mean, people talked about it for the week it came out, and then nobody mentioned it again.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been just because it only takes a couple hours to beat it.
True.
But
it had a lot of hype. Well, it had a lot of hype building up to it, and then there was that weird month where no one talked about it. Then it came out, and people were like, "Oh yeah, that came out." It was just one of those weird things where it was like, "Yeah, I can't wait for sound shapes," and then it didn't really set the world on fire.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's got player generated levels, and I could not get into the level building tool.
I'm never into that
too much. Yeah, because that's not my thing anyway. But it is nice to play through and get all of the different elements and sounds that you can use to make a level unlocked in that, so you could combine all the different styles if you really wanted to try it, which could yield some cool levels. But another PlayStation downloadable that I felt got kind of overlooked once it was gone, once it had hit its hype curve, was Journey, which came out way early this year.
Some people stopped believing.
Yes.
Okay.
And everyone always references the song every fucking time that game comes up. And
yeah, well, who's crying now?
You really are holding on to those feelings, aren't you?
He's just a small-time boy.
Get him out.
Yep.
And he left.
Well, since
you've covered all Journey's songs. So
since he's the only one talking about this, he is living in a lonely world.
I know.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to go our separate ways.
I only know one Journey song, so.
Oh, what is wrong with you?
I know the Sopranos one. Fuck the rest of them.
The Sopranos one.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, about the game Journey, which is not based on the band like the old school arcade game.
Journey's fucking amazing.
Biggest disappointment.
And now my biggest disappointment is they didn't fucking name it something else, so everybody didn't make that fucking joke about the song, about the fucking song and the game.
They
And
should have called it Sand.
because the game is the game is really, really good, and it's probably the game that comes closest, I'd say, to actually being art.
Ooh.
In a good way.
Ooh.
And it did something fun with multiplayer that was... They basically found a way to remove griefing from multiplayer.
Oh, that's right. It just brings in a friend and...
Yeah.
And
you don't even know who it is, and just...
Yeah.
It's kind of an amazing experience to play through, and it's one of those games I feel like anyone with a PlayStation should play through that game. Because I found it that solid, and it's one that kind of built on all the principles that game company had done in their previous games and actually made it better and made it work the way the way it should have worked.
Yeah.
Because Flower, while it had kind of that same sort of feel to it going through, forcing everyone to use 6-axis controls to control it, kind of killed that game. Because that's just not fun. But no, Journey is... I feel bummed still that... I mean, it gets credit from critics, but I don't know anybody else that played it. So it's a bummer that it got overlooked in that way.
Couple more real quick that we've talked about before. I think I talked about this one last month. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier is just better than it has any right to be. It's not a great game, but I found it surprisingly entertaining when I thought it was just going to suck. And especially compared to EA offerings in the shooter realm, I thought this was much better than that crap that EA puts out every year. So, save your Medal of Honor and your Battlefield 3. I thought Ghost
Battlefield
Recon...
people are going to be angry at you, Chuck.
Well, bring them on. Their game is fucking dumb. And yeah. So anyway, I just think that's worth playing. And Syndicate from earlier this year, which was just really neat. Just good shooter, good shooting tech in it, an interesting story, all future techy.
Yeah, and that sold about 10,000 copies.
Yeah, that
nobody bought that damn game.
Nope.
Too bad for them.
Yeah, and it's a shame. That's a good... all of these games, the ones that are actually games on the list, are games that should get some sort of recognition. People should really play them. Just because they're not AAA games doesn't mean they're not good.
Well, I have one more that everybody can play as long as you have a computer, because it's free.
They probably do.
Dikembe Mutombo's 4.5 weeks to save the world. Most pleasant surprise.
I will admit that was a pleasant surprise.
I mean, because it's a goddamn Advertis game, Adverta game, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I don't care.
No, it's not. It's a game that happens to be sponsored by Old Spice.
Sure. But, I mean, you could have Yaris, but you have Dikembe Mutombo's 4.5 weeks to save the world.
Yaris was an Adverta game. Dikembe Mutombo's 4.5 weeks to save the world is a game that just so happens to be sponsored by Old Spice.
Yeah.
In this bizarre alternate dimension that we happen to be lucky enough to live in.
Yes.
That gives us gems like this one.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole time playing it, I wanted to watch that 80s cartoon. I mean, I liked playing the game, but I was like, I would watch this cartoon every week if this was a cartoon like Mr. T and Friends.
Ooh.
Just Dikembe Mutombo saves the world?
Yes,
every week.
With, Science the Bear and, Random Turkey.
But that's got to be the funniest game I've played this year.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that
so
even
good.
comes close to that.
Yeah, that's why we don't have a funny games section, because
That's it.
because this
'Cause
would
that's
win.
it.
So, all right. Time to bring it down a notch, right?
Yeah, it's bum everybody out now.
Yeah, biggest disappointments of the year
Yeah,
for 2012.
yeah.
Aside from Journey being named Journey.
Right. Shall I lead off with a perennial disappointment?
Yes. What is your perennial
My
disappointment?
perennial disappointment is my, once again, failure to have a year of game.
BJ.
That is my vote.
I need to win the lottery to have a year of game.
No, you don't. I have no job, and I have your game.
I don't know how you do it. You must not have any bills at all, and you've got all the free time. So,
I do.
I do.
No job, no bills, all the time in the world.
And I managed to play 35 2012 games.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
That is more than me.
I think
that is more than the majority of
played
humanity.
3 or 5, but yeah, I'm sorry, folks. I know. I know I've said this 4 or 5
The
times
annual
already.
BJ apology.
Every year is the
And
year of
apology.
game, and every year,
Yes.
you
I
make
promise
this
that next
apology.
year I will disappoint you with another failed year of game.
Well, then we know what won't be in biggest disappointment next year.
It'll be the most expected things of the year.
One answer in that category.
I want
Now-
you to be in the
Promise it'll-
pleasant surprise category.
Yes, now, if you just play 4 games next year, you will be in the pleasant surprises
Right.
category next year.
No, BJ.
So
Oh.
I'm not the only one. Apparently, on the list it says Mackie, BJ, and Harlow's year of
Why
game.
am I on that
Harlow
list?
apparently accomplished year of game by playing 35 games.
That's almost a game a week.
That was just me.
It's getting up there.
I was just
That's
being an
just-
asshole.
yeah, being a douche.
Because
But
Chuck,
you guys really did-
Chuck bought 75 $9 games, and now he's mad that the rest of us did not buy and play 75 $9 games.
Y'all
Sorry.
should really be playing NFL Head Coach 09 with me.
Oh my God, you son of a bitch!
Shush. Your damn
You
hole.
shut your damn pie hole.
Okay, sorry.
Is that the one featuring Bill Cower's mustache?
Yeah,
You
he's
play-
not even
yes,
a head coach
you play
anymore.
You
play
as
Didn't
the
he get
mustache.
fired after that year?
I think he did.
Probably.
He didn't
All
get
right.
fired. He
You can
quit.
simulate that in the game.
I think
I'm
it's
sure you
it's
can.
fairly easy for the people that have played it to declare the actual biggest disappointment of the year to be Assassin's Creed 3.
I would have to agree with that.
Oh.
For anyone who's actually played it, it is
I didn't even have to see it.
such a disappointment.
I didn't play any of the other games except for half of one, and I could tell that it was a giant pile of crap compared to what it should have been.
It's
It looks nice.
it's not
Oh,
It doesn't look that good.
okay, sorry.
You better be.
it's not a pile of crap. It's just a pile of dull, like a pile of ambivalence.
It's a pile of
It's just-
disappointment.
yeah,
It's your father
Disappointment.
standing there with his arm crossed going,
Son.
son, I'm not
I am
mad.
disappointed.
I know you can do better, boy. I know you can do better.
Dad, stop. I just want a game.
Therapy. Yeah. Well, I mean,
so-
we've lamented
Yeah,
that game
we've-
enough.
Sure.
Because
and the next, one
yeah.
too.
I mean, we've expressed many times why we feel that Need for Speed Most Wanted as a disappointment.
I do not agree with the inclusion of this game in this category. I
Well-
just want to state for the record, I do not vote for this being here at all.
That's
Both-
because you have no soul like this game.
Yeah,
Chuck.
both Assassin's Creed and Need for Speed Most Wanted suffer from pedigrees.
Yes.
Because Assassin's Creed, you've got Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood coming before it.
Yeah.
And Need for Speed Most Wanted, you've got Burnout Paradise.
Hmm.
One
It's not
of
a
my
Burnout
favorite games this generation.
It's not a Burnout game. It's a Need for Speed game.
Yeah, well,
It doesn't really matter. It
it's
just
all
just
the
simply,
same principles that should be better, and they're not.
It's unfortunate that they came out within a week of each other, but you can compare Forza Horizon and
Yeah.
you can compare Need for Speed Most Wanted, and one is the Partridge Family and the other one is Parliament Funkadelic, because it's like it's so goddamn dull and bleh, just like it's there. It's not awful, but it's a thing. And the other one's like, fuck yeah, let's play this shit.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
I will admit that it compared to Forza, had they not come out within a week of each other, Need for Speed would not be as disappointing as it is. But when you couple the fact that you had 2 weeks to play Forza, which was great, and then here comes Most Wanted, which is kind of not as great as you wanted it to be. Plus, there's this other racing game that's a lot more fun anyway. Okay, maybe I can understand putting it here.
Disappointment. We're not saying bad. This
I know.
is disappointing.
I'm just saying I like it.
Okay.
But that's just me.
That is just you.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my biggest disappointments is Borderlands 2 erasing my progress multiple times. But I can also add this to pleasant surprises: is that the new patch fixed that completely.
Oh yeah, you got all your
Got my
stuff
keys
back?
back. Got my skins back. Got my badass ranks back. I was able to assign 59 points worth of stuff.
Woo!
In one go.
59 tokens.
Man.
Wow, I can put on my list of biggest disappointments this newest patch, pretty much breaking the strategy that this game had allowed you to play up until then.
Breaking your silly cheaty strategy. I will declare that the biggest whine of this list.
I
A big whinge.
okay. I see both sides of this, but they don't want you playing that game that way because you will just continue to murder everything in the game.
Somewhat.
But
So what?
I have issue with the fact that they're doing this. They're like, no, you're supposed to experience it the way we want. And it's like, everyone who's doing that has already beaten your game.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going back through again to do this shit just for a challenge. They're doing it to collect loot and farm shit. And now you're suddenly like, okay, hey, yeah, you have to play the bosses on the hardest mode, and they have even more health than they did before. And yeah, all the weapons that actually work don't anymore.
Yep.
So
that is kind of bullshit.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that's there's game balancing, and then there's like, holy shit, like, you know, this is like major overhaul, because it's not just the one thing; it's a lot of different things got weakened and nerfed, as they say.
And I mean, I don't mind the Tiny Tina one getting nerfed.
Yeah,
because that
was a cheat. I'm not gonna lie, that was a cheat.
Yeah, that was a flat out cheat.
Okay.
In that you could get someone to level 50 in like an hour. That's a broken thing that should have been fixed, and so it is.
Yeah,
but everything else that
the
they
game
did
feels very different now. Like, I mean, I even switched and tried other weapons and other strategies, and it's like, Jesus, this game is just way, way harder now.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and like you said, they want to force you to party up with people, which you don't necessarily want to do.
No.
Mm-mm. Also disappointing, the ownership of a pinball machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Why do I seem to remember me going, man, you guys are fucking stupid for buying pinball machines?
Look, I did not pay a lot of money for my pinball machine. I'm glad I have it, and someday I will probably work on it. However, up until today, and through today onward, I have had absolutely no desire to do so. When faced with free time, I've been like, I'll just play an Xbox game. I like having it, but I'm not as gung-ho about it as I was 6 months ago, where I was scouring Craigslist every day looking for more pinball machines to buy. I think it's an itch I can scratch by going to those festivals once or twice a year. I don't see myself with a room full of arcade equipment as I once did.
And this is, amazingly, this is not intended as a slight, but I think you jumped kind of into the swirly vortex deep end of pinball machine ownership by not only buying an old dink-a-dink table that is crazily complicated and antiquated, you know, but you also bought a kind of fucking broken one.
Yes, I did.
And I think that you should probably trade that in on one that needs less work.
Okay.
And
My table's basically worth less than 1% of one that would actually work. So
in Harlow's, we had fun with for a couple months until something broke.
Yeah, I know basically what it is. I just haven't had the time or money to deal with it. But I mean, it's
that
not
sounds
that
like
big a deal.
every pinball owner.
sure.
Well, I mean,
owners
most
lament.
pinball owners probably aren't unemployed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Well, okay, maybe.
Oh, you bought that one to flip it.
What about that guy with the half shirt? He's probably unemployed.
Oh, half shirt guy.
Most disappointment. Half shirt guy.
Half shirt guy.
I don't know. I thought he was a pleasant surprise.
No, the disappointing thing is nobody told half shirt guy that he needed the rest
Full
of his shirt.
Full shirt.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's very similarly related, but everything related to Pinball Arcade DLC.
On the 360 at least, yeah.
Well, kind of everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere.
It's been such a fragmented mess.
Yeah, it really is.
Like,
I mean, you've got. It seems like iOS seems to be getting the things the most and the fastest, but that's the platform I least want to play on.
Yep.
It's because the Apple Store has the least oversight on apps.
I guess,
it's basically, there's code. Okay, put it up on the App Store.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas every
This
other thing
won't destroy your phone.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Whereas Xbox and PS3 and stuff, they take like months to verify and
Well, it's
They're also
interesting that
expensive.
that
Unless you have
and-
enough money to throw them.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
seems.
Yeah, that and Fez kind of brought that all to light.
Yeah.
That hey, it costs a shit ton of money to get a patch through Microsoft.
That's
For no discernible reason aside from they want you to get your shit right the first time. But you know,
But you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing to prevent them from being a biggest disappointment. Stop talking. Stop being so clear about what's going on with your company. Stop sending out daily emails telling us about the newest bug you found.
Mm-hmm.
That just makes me go, God, you guys don't know what you're doing. I appreciate you being transparent, but stop. I had to unfollow them on Twitter and Facebook and all these places because it was depressing.
Yep.
Because every update was, okay, the good news is the new update is out. The bad news is it breaks everything. So in 3 months, we'll fix that. Please bear with us. We're doing God's work. I mean, it's just, it's just, just stop. Just tell us when the new thing is out and don't say anything else. That's free advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
But that
just
is
have to
take. Wow. That is. God, the more I think about that, the more disappointed I get.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Just gotta stop thinking about it. Just put it out of your mind.
Somebody needs to buy them and love them. Love them for all they're worth.
Oh,
Certainly not Crave. They're
poor,
out of business.
poor Crave.
At least THQ didn't buy him in the most recent.
Yeah, it's like THQ has saved Pinball Arcade. Oh,
the
no.
way Farsight luck has been, that probably would have happened.
Probably. Yes.
They were probably in talks with THQ.
Yeah, they probably signed a deal with them this morning.
Yeah, we just got bought out by T-Square, Chair, Semi-Q. God, their new logo's stupid.
It's pretty bad.
That's why they went out of business. Yep.
Yes, the logo.
Yeah.
So, ironically speaking, I think we should bring up the next one. The original ending of Mass Effect 3 as a disappointment. I didn't feel so much like that, but I think most people did.
I think it's more the reaction to it
Yes.
that's been disappointing.
Yeah.
But there is, everyone has certain expectations of basically tying up loose ends. And granted, some things take too long doing it, like the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh, God.
And then there's ones like this where they just they only wrap up one part of it and leave everything else hanging. And just the fact that your choices didn't really matter. That no matter what you did the entire game, it still came down to, do you walk down route A, route B, or route C at the end of the game? Because you could still change your mind. So it kind of negated everything that you had done. And that was disappointing.
I never
Big
had
time.
any problem with the fact that the game had to narrow it back down to a scripted ending because the amount of choices they had thrown at you over that trilogy were just insane. And to produce 6,000 different endings based on all your choices would have been
I'm not asking for
insane.
that.
Now, like,
I'm
had your
saying-
choices influenced the type of ending that you could kick into gear, maybe. But my problem with the whole thing was just the like, story-wise, fine. However they want to end it story-wise, that's fine. But finish telling your story. That's what they didn't do.
Mhm.
They just stopped.
Yeah.
They didn't finish it is my problem. When you announce your thing to be the end of the story and then you don't end your story, screw you. All the story beats that people complained about, I didn't necessarily have a problem with because that's what writers do. They come up with weird, crazy shit. But the fact to do all that and then just sort of like, well, the end, here's some credits, and maybe we'll be back in DLC. No. No. You end your game.
Yeah. And then adding the new ending to it, just
All the stuff they've done
which
since
changed stuff about the ending that they had already established.
all the retconning they've done on their own ending leads me to believe that they don't know what they're doing. That's what's disappointing.
Yeah.
And related to that, I would like to say that that UPS saying that they had delivered my game to my door the day I took off work to play Mass Effect 3 and it not actually fucking being there
That's disappointing.
was seriously one of the most depressing 12 hours periods of my life where I was just I mean,
you've led a pretty charmed life, Chuck.
no, I know, and it's a dumb thing, but it's like
First world problems.
it gets to be like 8 o'clock, and my wife says, well, why don't you go out to a store and see if you can find it? And I just like begrudgingly was like, whatever, okay. And
but you ordered the collector's edition.
Yeah,
too,
so
right?
driving around town, of course, no one had the collector's edition, which just got me angrier. That was a dark period in my life.
It made me not want to play the game then. I felt guilty for every second I played the game because I was like, Chuck is seething with animosity. And then I looked and you were playing something stupid.
I probably was.
You put some other game in and I was like...
Snoopy's Balloon Adventures.
No, it was like, Star Trek...
Oh, Star Trek Legacy. Yeah, I was probably playing
something
that.
like that.
Where I was torturing myself.
I was like,
with
Chuck
bad
wants to go to
game.
space, but he picked the worst possible space game.
Just please game with space in it. Oh, so bad.
And then I was like, yeah, Mass Effect really sucks. Sorry.
Yeah. You kept texting me. Man, this opening sucks. It's really good, but it sucks.
Just trying to make you feel better, dude.
Yeah. So, oh well.
The rest is all you. You're the one disappointed about all the rest of these things here.
Some of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Wii U, which I'll admit has not even been turned on for 2 weeks.
It's like that pinball machine, isn't it? You just had to have it.
Yes.
And then what happened?
I was a family present. It's Christmas. It'll get used as soon as they release a game for it. Although they announced today that the big TV remote control feature that'll be out tomorrow is totally gimped and has none of the shit in it they promised would be there. It doesn't control your DVR. They haven't even talked to the cable companies yet to get their permission to control your DVR. They've done none of that. So like program schedules and all that shit, they haven't even begun negotiations to get that shit into your controller. Fucking bullshit, Nintendo.
They're Nintendo. What do you expect?
It's Bush. It's Bush League.
Games.
Thanks,
That's
Obama.
all it's for.
I know.
Games.
PlayStation Vita,
Why do you even have this on here?
because
Chuck?
I don't have one. And
That's
Shut up.
disappointing.
Move
Is
on.
that your disappointment?
yeah.
Move on.
Okay,
That you bought a Wii U instead of a Vita?
Fine, I'll get to the real disappointment
All
here.
right.
There's fucking dubstep in everything. Stop with the dubstep. It's fax machines fucking. It's not music. It's fucking dumb. I'm not ready to embrace dubstep ironically yet, so I
Also,
hate it.
get off Chuck's lawn.
Yes. As the old man of the group, I am angry.
Oh, I can see that this is going to go right into the next one, too. Hey, took my days bottom man, shoot up everyone, Daniel Craig, Golden Finger,
This is my actual legitimate biggest disappointment of the year is 007 Legends. Which, man, such an opportunity to revisit. Yes, such an opportunity.
Yes, but come on, look at the studio's track record.
They don't have a good track record, but other studios have had shitty track records and all of a sudden pull out some amazing. Treyarch sucked for a while. They did shit, and then all of a sudden they made the best Call of Duty game there is. So
yeah,
it can happen.
I thought you were going to say that about Quantum Solace. I'm like, it's all right.
Quantum Solace is better than 007 Legends.
Yes, but that's...
It's so much, but coming off our fucking half a year Bond marathon and embracing the movies that we liked that no one else does. Mm-hmm. Like, man, License to Kill is going to be in a video game. Holy shit. And
you don't even drive a tanker truck, do you?
No.
Yeah.
It's just they blew it. And that's what hurts me is that they just fucking blew it.
Yes.
Yep.
Such opportunity.
Yep.
So,
well, I have one. This will wrap it up, I believe. Mm-hmm. But this was due to a lot of game reviewers and stuff hyping Fez's deeper meaning once you beat it. There's no deeper meaning to Fez. There's not. Computer games have had their own language built into them for years and years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And to have, to be like, oh, there's a secret language hidden in it and there's all this code. And it's like, just because you don't get a cipher for this code thing doesn't make it any better than one that gave you a cipher.
Oh.
Just because somebody on the internet figured out the cipher that you need to decode this thing, that doesn't make it that amazing, deep, horrible, wonderful thing that everyone kind of made it out to be.
What is the deeper meaning supposed to be? Because I didn't...
The bigger point is, I don't even remember anymore.
The bigger point is fucking 3 dimensions. Like...
Yeah, I mean, one thing, like, you unlock a first-person view,
Ooh.
which in the game is utterly useless.
Sure.
So that was one of the things, like, it was not a game changer.
I want to say this.
The only game changer is that you could fly, which they didn't even advertise, that you could keep hitting jump and you could keep flying up, and it got you through a lot of levels really fucking quick.
Wow.
But yeah, it was one of those games where just hunting and hunting and hunting for all this stuff eventually led to nothing. It led to a room with one thing in it that didn't even make any sense. And then it was like, okay, you're done. Now go wander the rest of this world. So to me, it felt like all the parts of people that didn't get lost felt like, like the show Lost, where everyone was like, oh, they're not answering anything. Like they answered some of the stuff, but they didn't answer the stuff you wanted. Mm-hmm. That's how Fez felt to me. But it was like it was intentionally confusing, and then it didn't explain any of it anyway.
Fez was a jerk.
In my Phil Fish was a jerk, but
well, no, Fez the game was a jerk in my opinion.
But I just think I think my disappointment comes more from people hyping up this deeper meaning to it, because I did enjoy playing Fez and I did enjoy puzzling my way through it for the most part until I got to like the amateur cryptographer phase, and then I was like, okay, internet, go to work and tell me everything. So yeah, it was just disappointing that people acted like it was some big deep thing when it just flat out wasn't.
I just love that people think a game called Fez has a deeper meaning. Fez.
Designed by a fish.
Yeah. So Fez was weird ass, but it didn't make this list of weirdest ass games we played this year.
Weirdest ass games. I just love that category.
Weirdest ass games.
Weirdest ass games.
I'll admit, we didn't have as big a weird ass game year as we've had in the past.
No.
There was no Kung Fu Rider showing up. There was no tornado outbreak.
We had so much to catch up on during the summer because there was actually a decent amount of games released in the first part of the year.
There was there was like a game a month where it was
there
just
were real games to play.
Yeah.
Good job,
that we didn't do that like, hey, what's the weirdest game we can go find?
And yet we found some weird games.
Found a few
that came out. Actually, all of them are 2012 games. We didn't go back into the back catalog.
Okay. Well, there's one that I hadn't put on here tentatively because
you're allowed to throw it in there.
Sure.
Okay,
Throw it
very
in
good.
there. Is it Train Simulator?
No, that's
Zombie Train Simulator.
No, that came out last year.
Okay. But Train
played it
Simulator
last year.
2012.
Now I think it's upgraded to Train Simulator 2013 automatically or something.
Well, we have to wait then.
Man.
Spoilers.
That fucking crazy thing. So I'll go ahead and lead off with it. Amnesia is one of those games that's really weird to me because it's not weird in and of itself necessarily, even though it is kind of weird.
Kind of weird.
But the weirdest thing about it to me is how uncomfortable it made me playing it. Like, I haven't gone back to it since whenever I talked about it last.
Yeah.
When that Humble Indie Bundle 6 came out or whenever it was. But man, that fucking game unnerves the shit out of me. And that's weird because I don't really get bothered by games. The last game that bothered me was the one where you take pictures, the ghost camera.
Is it Fatal Frame?
Fatal Frame, yeah. That was the last game that weirded me out.
Take pictures of the ghosts.
Yeah, take pictures of ghosts.
Coming to the Wii U, by the way.
Fatal Frame?
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good fit.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I could see that.
Yeah, well,
When's
if it
Pokemon
works.
Snap coming?
Yeah.
They haven't
That's an
said
even better fit.
anything about Pokemon.
There are going to be a lot of dropped gamepad controller monstrosities, I think. From
I'm
Fatal
sure
Frame.
that thing's got to be fairly durable. It's a fucking Nintendo. It has to be.
It's pretty
designed for
strong
4-year-olds.
plastic, yeah.
So,
You never know.
They'll give you a Wii tablet condom in a few.
No,
there's already
months.
giant Nerf things that
for
you
God's
strap
sake.
onto it, and so.
Is there a lanyard, a wrist strap for it so you don't fling it into your TV?
Actually, I think there is.
Oh my God.
it's just
That's
a,
weird.
That's the
it's a
weirdest
neck
ass.
strap.
That's weird ass.
A neck strap.
But weird ass games.
Uh-huh.
It got to be topping it is Tokyo Jungle.
Hell yes.
Certainly weird. We reaffirmed that tonight watching some more Tokyo Jungle.
But I love
What?
Tokyo Jungle.
I love Tokyo Jungle. I don't know why I don't play this more. Every time I play it, I'm like, why don't I play this more?
It's weird.
when you can kill a chimpanzee with a Pomeranian.
I was playing a cat. A goddamn house cat.
He was.
I killed a chimpanzee.
He had a whole pack of
playing a
house
cat.
cats.
I did appreciate that when you met up with dogs, you were fucked.
Oh, those were big ass dogs, though. I don't
Yeah.
know what those were.
Yeah, the chimps, man.
I took down some beagles and golden retrievers.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, deers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that weird ass roguelike where you're playing animals that wear costumes. If you want to put, like, you were running around a cat with a kendo mask on and
a stuffed something
and
on
a
your back.
stuffed cat, like a
Yeah.
stuffed animal
Smaller
cat on
stuffed
his
cat.
back.
Stuffed Toro.
Sure,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's like Japanese in the good, goofy ways.
Yeah, that is. If we had a category most Japanese, it would be Tokyo Jungle.
No.
not just based on the name. Oh wait, I'm
No,
sorry.
most
I'm,
Japanese
yeah, you're
would
right.
be Asura's Wrath.
You're right. I'm sorry. What was I thinking?
The most Japanese thing I've ever experienced.
And you've been to Japan.
That game is, and I've been to Japan. That game is weird ass, but insane in all the good ways, and we already covered that. But
I like fighting that dude's finger.
yeah,
Was it Dikembe Mutombo's finger?
No, that would have been even fucking weirder. But yeah, speaking of battling body parts, Never Dead, which I talked about last week, where your fucking body explodes and then you got to roll your head around to reassemble yourself. Man, that game, I haven't even gone back to it. That's how weird it is. It is just, you are immortal, but you explode, and then you have to control your head and find your appendages. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Next, the last one I got is one that we haven't talked about yet because I only played it between the episodes, but Hotline Miami, which you've probably heard a bit about.
People have been talking.
Super violent, late 80s EGA looking game. But just, like, you're getting missions from dudes wearing, like, owl masks and fox masks, and just, it's just weird. It's I can't even explain how weird it is. But
that's pretty weird.
It is fucking violent as shit, and yet in that late 80s hand animated looking way that games used to be, and just it's just weird. And the music is very,
I heard the music's the best part.
It's unnerving.
Oh, all right.
It's probably not what you're expecting. Like they're simplistic tracks, but they're just weird to be hearing while you're smashing a hobo's face in with a bat.
I would imagine pretty much anything would be weird to hear during that.
Yeah, but that game's odd. I need to play more of it, but there's a storyline to it that's just, you're trying to find out how you were betrayed, and just it's really odd. It's one of those games that can only come out as an indie game as far as the weirdness that is involved in it.
Wow. Yeah,
but I definitely want to play more of it, but yeah, it's strange, but it's no Tokyo Jungle.
No.
I think Tokyo Jungle's got to take the cake for weird ass.
And that's saying something, considering Asura's Wrath is in this category, because that's a weird game.
Yeah.
So, all right. Congrats, Tokyo Jungle.
Yeah. So, we play a lot of games. We try and mix it up.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just get stuck playing games that we really shouldn't have any point playing for more than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the games we played more than we probably should have.
All right.
For 2012. And I'll lead off with Nailed apostrophe D.
Featuring Stained.
One of the, yes, Stained and Slipknot and a bunch of crap music. And I can't explain why I kept playing this.
This is the
for as many races as I did.
ATV racing game?
Yeah, but like with like no discernible physics or just point. It's just dumb.
So there was a slow time in your life when you were just, Nailed's in there. I don't want to get up and take it out.
Honestly, yes.
Okay.
And it was kind of that, I got stuck in that, I can do one race before I leave to beat somebody or do whatever. And then like I do like 3 or 4 races and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I still playing Nailed? I should be playing like Pure or something that's actually good.
Yeah,
But I didn't.
Pure Nailed.
Yeah. But it was giving me points.
Points are
which
good.
Leads to Chuck's games he played more than he should have.
Yeah, anything with a number in it that has some sports attached to it that I put in this year for pure gamer score boosting purposes, which started during, I took a week off over the summer. It happened to be the week of E3, so I was watching E3 on my iPad while just hitting A on sports games while they simulated to get points explosions on my Xbox. And then for some reason that persisted throughout the rest of the year, just continuing to pick up shitty sports games and simulate through them and collect points. I don't know why.
Are you going to stop once you finally beat my gamer score, which you're only like 300 points away from now, after starting the year like literally 20,000 points below me?
As of this podcast, I'm 135 points away from beating
you.
you.
So you get to play at work too, jackass.
Yeah. Am I going to stop? Nah.
Okay. You just don't want me overtaking you.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see how I feel after. I could be totally deflated after I'm done.
You're going to run out of crappy sports games. I'm telling you.
No, they make a bunch of them.
A bunch of them.
Crap. All right.
Yeah.
Well, another crappy game you played.
It's not really that crappy. I just, for some reason, stuck with it longer than I should have, which was Ridge Racer Unbounded. For some reason, that game got me to a point where I got the feeling of, you are not better than me, game, and I am going to finish your dumbass races. and I'm probably put 25, 30 hours into that.
So you were just grudge playing that game.
Yeah, really.
You're like, fuck you, game.
I was
you.
hate fucking that game. I was just... it wasn't even doing it for points, because like the points that I could get were pretty much all gotten. It was just, I'm going to finish everything in this game because it's telling me I can't, and I will not take that as an answer. So,
all right.
But that ended badly.
Did that game finally show you who's boss?
Yeah, it did.
Did it unbound you?
It straightened me out.
See, I put things on there that are good games. I just played them more than I should have. Like, really, really should have.
Like what?
Like, I put Blops 2 on there. I have played that probably more than I should have.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
You've played
hundreds of hours of Blops 2 at this point.
Not that bad.
But it scratches that itch of a good multiplayer shooter.
Yeah. But I mean, I've got Borderlands 2 on there because I gotta admit, like, I'm here to tell you, I have played that too much.
What is your badass rank?
I don't even know. It's over 20,000.
Overnight.
Okay.
Is that high?
It's pretty high.
Yeah. Like once everything restored on mine, I was just over 4,000.
I think I'm around 9,000.
I'm at 0.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I gotta admit, like, I've played, like, I even played with, like, my offline profile some to do things, like...
What?
Yeah.
There's
a lot of secret playing of Borderlands 2 that has gone on with me. Like, I seriously have a problem.
So you have a problem, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
What have you been doing in secret?
This is why I'm allowed to be upset with this patch. I mean, because I am someone who has put in some time. Like, I
see.
You are the Neo of Borderlands 2.
Are you grinding levels in your sleep?
I don't have any more levels to grind.
Have you strapped a rubber band to your controller at some point?
No.
Okay.
I've not done anything like that.
Right.
It's all been actually playing.
I did that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, like, that's just...
Well, at least that game's still good.
Yeah.
It's not like nailed.
Oh, I know. I know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got 2 more that are, like, on lists of good games, but it's like, I still play them a lot.
I mean, Puzzle Quest is not a bad game at all, but I played way too damn much Puzzle Quest because I thought I was close to the end, and then Puzzle Quest just kept going. Just would not end.
Yeah. That carried over like 2 months of podcasts.
I know.
Playing Puzzle Quest.
I know.
Okay.
Same with
talk about some games you haven't played Puzzle Quest.
Yeah, same with Lego Star Wars Complete Series.
It's the new Peggle.
You and your fucking Lego games. Those you just stop. Just stop playing those forever.
No.
Stop obsessing about them. Play them and have fun with them.
No, you got to collect all the things.
That one, I did reach the point where I was like, kind of like Chuck, where I was like, you're not. I'm getting that last 100 points out of you, you fucking game. You don't win.
That's right.
But the developers, like,
you're not better than me.
Yeah, whoever decided that you need to play through that game a minimum of 4 times to beat it, and that is not a short game. Like compared to the other Lego games where they're like, yeah, we got like 4 or 5 levels. This is like, no, there are 6 movies and 6 levels for each of these, and you are going to play every one of them 4 times if you want the achievements. Yeah. So yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot.
Okay,
fair enough.
Yep.
See, I've got Skyrim on this list because it's a last year game, but I did a big bulk of playing it in the first part of this year.
Yeah, that one persisted with you.
Yeah,
you stuck with that.
I mean, and I've got the DLC and I haven't even played those, and I still probably have 100 hours in this year.
So look for it on next year's games we played too much of, FOTY.
Yeah.
Nope, there is no next year.
Yeah.
No.
I have one to admit. Again,
admit it.
Jurassic Park Builder.
What?
It's frightening in the dark.
It's a Farmville clone, but with Jurassic Park. But
dude,
digital Jeff Goldblum asking me to do things I couldn't resist.
Oh, why did you say that?
Yeah, tell me about we have to rearrange the dinosaurs because chaos theory or some bullshit.
Sure.
And
does he use his hands a lot to talk?
No, he's static.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, move this faster would be better.
Yep. Yeah, but it's what can I say? It's a Farmville clone, and yet I kept playing it, even though I hate myself. But it had dinosaurs, and it had Jeff Goldblum talking to me, and I couldn't resist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was just bummed there was no Samuel L. Jackson in it telling me to do missions.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard for him to use a touchscreen smartphone now. The character from the movie.
Oh,
has one hand.
Yeah.
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 Ha ha ha.
Jokes.
So yeah, I put Diablo 3 on this list too.
Yeah, you
because,
people play a lot of Diablo 3.
This person played
Not
a lot
you
of Diablo
people.
3.
Oh,
Him.
all right. Sorry.
This
What do you mean,
people,
you
people played
This
a
is-
lot of
yeah.
Diablo 3.
This fucking guy.
Like, I don't remember how many levels there are, but I'm on at least 3 or 4 playthrough. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
It's-
time with Diablo 3.
It's a game.
Yep. Loot. The loot gets you, man.
It does.
That's your thing. You are a loot man.
That's why Borderlands and Diablo and Skyrim, for that matter.
Yep.
God,
Hey, loot man.
cheese wheels.
You
How
should-
many cheese wheels can you have?
all of
You
the
should
cheese
get
wheels.
a personalized license plate that says Loot Man.
Man.
Loot Man.
Lootman.
Lootman. Hi.
So BJ,
I have 2 embarrassing things that are on my games I probably played more than I should have.
Go on.
One of them is for slightly explainable but also inexplicable reasons. Solitaire on my stupid friggin' laptop. Can't sleep. Don't want to get up out of bed. Laptop doesn't really play games all that well, and I played hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of Solitaire.
do you play Vegas style?
Oh yeah,
Klondike?
I don't know what Klondike is, but
What would you do?
I do a lot, man.
Oh, no.
But you know, if I was playing real Solitaire, I would be many thousands of dollars in debt. So
Do you lose to yourself?
Who's
If
When
you
you
play
play
Vegas
solitaire,
style-
when you play Vegas style, you put in $52, and then you get money back when you put cards up on the aces up top.
Mhm.
But
But who do you
you
lose the
only
money
get you
to?
only get to
The
shuffle
house.
through the deck 3 times.
the house, as in like you were playing in a casino in Vegas.
What's paying you, though? Like, if
The
if
house?
you're putting in $52,
Wait,
what
wait,
are
You
you
get
getting
like
back?
you get like $5 back.
Yeah, you
when
get
you place
$5
an ace.
$5
you know.
when you place an ace, and $5 for every card you put on
Oh,
the
okay.
aces.
What I want to know
So
is
you
there
can go
is there
up.
actually is this actually a casino game in real life?
I don't think you can actually go do
think
it.
so.
I mean, there's a
But
table
it's-
set up
it-
for
I was-
one.
It is
If
a
it- I
mode
would
where
be
you
great
can't
if
just
there was.
infinitely go through the deck.
Right.
That's the difference.
Well, that would be
I
great. You
have
go to
heard-
Vegas, there's just a dealer standing there watching you play solitaire. Just like,
No, it's hard because like in college, mine was down to like minus $20,000 or something
Yeah,
insane.
and my game is persistent. So like each time I look,
Yeah.
I'm like, let's see if I can get $3,000 this time. Come on,
so I never
Yep.
start.
I need to repair my car.
It was the best lesson in gambling I think I've ever had. 'Cause
Oh
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah. Never,
oh my god,
never, ever.
I've been destroyed by solitaire on the PC.
Right. And also I stay up way later than I should, and I've had like sitting in bed playing on the internet, like
Sure.
the internet's out for no reason.
Huh.
Oh, Solitaire's here. Oh, it's 4:00 in the morning. Fuck.
Solitaire is always here for you.
It is, and it's my go-to sometimes.
sure.
And then only because Xbox still somewhat considers it a game that you can play with people. You can put a beacon on it.
I don't know about this.
Netflix, because Netflix is the thing.
Whenever I log in and I see you on,
Yeah.
Netflix is the only thing you are ever playing.
No, sometimes he's on dashboard.
Sometimes I am on the dashboard for. That's when I've
He's
fallen
waiting
asleep.
for Netflix
Yeah.
to update.
Netflix is
Next
timed out.
Timed out.
and I'm
Kicked it
back on
back
the
to the
dashboard.
dashboard.
You know, you could get a Roku. It consumes a whole lot less power.
Oh
It
no,
does the
I
same
love the
thing?
power of my.
Oh, okay.
I want
Sure.
to.
You want to suck all that power off the
Yeah,
grid.
Some men just want to watch the world burn,
Okay.
and I'm one of those men.
All
but
right.
We got one
You'll
more day,
watch it
so.
on Netflix.
So what does it
Exactly.
matter now?
But that is one of the things that sucks up most of the time I should be like gaming, because I'll go sit down to eat dinner and I'll say to myself, hey, there's still 3 more seasons of How It's Made that you haven't seen, so watch that during dinner.
And then you
so I
realize that you
start-
stopped eating 2 hours ago.
Right. And I'm like, oh, well, it's almost time for bed. One more episode. And then, oh, fuck, it's 4:00 in the morning.
Right.
I should go to bed.
At
and
least
then,
you know how corn dogs are made now.
oh, fuck yeah. I know how everything is made almost. There are 3 seasons of things I don't know how they are made, but
Oh.
that is the thing I've played way more than I should have.
I think the final episode of that should be how the show is made.
Yeah.
It should be. That
How-
would be the best.
how
How
it's
it's
made
made
is
is
made.
made.
So I have 3 more actual games.
Oh,
All right.
3
Oh,
more.
Jesus
Holy
Christ.
shit.
Wow.
Quickly.
The longest category ever.
I've again, this is something. It's similar to your solitaire, but I will pick up the Vita and I play Virtual Tennis 4. That's my fall asleep.
Solitaire. Do you play Vegas style?
Too much
Klondike?
Virtual Tennis 4.
Is that-
Virtua.
Is that this year's Plants vs. Zombies for you?
It kind of is.
Okay.
I have played through that story mode 8 to 10 times.
Holy God.
Wait, I'm sorry. The story mode?
Well, like a season. Like
okay.
Basically, you play, I think it's 3 or 4 years where you travel around the world and do different tournaments and stuff. And I've gone through it probably at least 8 times.
I couldn't tell you how many times I played through Virtua Tennis on Dreamcast.
Oh, God, yeah.
Dozens.
I'm with you there.
Dozens of times.
Yeah.
That game was so good.
Yeah.
And is it that good on Vita?
It's pretty good.
Oh, no.
No, it's terrible.
I didn't hear you say that.
It's terrible.
Is your tennis player a grunter?
I've played both. I have a male and a female character, and I just, whatever I feel like doing, I like play this more.
Yeah.
Because you can keep the same character, you just kind of start over the stats and play a new season.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, more than I should have because I've already played this game to death is Just Cause 2, getting it free on the PlayStation 3.
Oh God, you played
Oh,
more?
no.
Played
Wow.
through the whole game.
Oh,
Again,
no.
not to the completion percentage of the Xbox 360 for the crazy achievement, but yeah, played all the way through the game again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hear you are the best on the island.
Yes. Bolo Santosi.
Uh-huh.
And the final one should have been on everybody's list because playing it more than you should have, we're all guilty of this.
Yeah.
Podcasting.
Pimp My Ride.
Oh,
If you've played it at all,
I have not played Pimp My
if
Ride.
you've played it at all, you have played it more than you should have.
Entry of the year.
I played
That's
a lot
my-
of it.
That's my.
You
That's
gotta
my
go
favorite
stride that
entry.
whip.
But I will say that I can trump that, and Mackie can trump it with me because we played some Game Room this year.
Oh, Game Room. Oh, you fucker. I forgot about Game Room.
No. That probably actually works.
It does work,
Yeah,
but
there you go.
I spent 15 hours in Game Room because the achievements are time-based.
God, that hour I wasted playing Mega Mania.
You got points. It is not a waste, and you know it.
No, but I tried to do the play for an hour.
Oh,
and I was
yeah,
like,
you did waste that hour.
I didn't realize it was the same game without ending.
No, you fucked yourself on that.
I did. I fucked myself even
But come on.
loading up Game Room.
Still, that's a game that functions and it works
Yes.
and you can play classic games. Pimp My Ride is a broken piece of shit that even on its best day isn't worth playing
I don't know.
more than we've played it.
It's got the Ghost Ride My Whip stuff in it.
It does, which is funny one time. So would a YouTube video of it being
Yep,
funny.
exactly.
Whatever.
But just Game Room, I have to throw this out there as far as that goes.
Go ahead.
Those are now the highest ratio achievements on True Achievements are the challenges that Chuck and I did in Game Room.
Yeah, because no one
Probably
else
because
has
like
done them.
we are the only people that have played Game Room enough to challenge each other to get it. I think like listener Jens has 1,000 points in Game Room,
That's
and I'm
sick.
just like, you wasted your life. You can never get that time back.
So Jens's game that he played more probably than he should.
So
is
yeah,
Game
it's
Room.
like him and us have that
Okay.
achievement, and that's it.
Super.
Good job, guys.
Ugh,
Hey, we achieved.
Right.
we did.
One more category before we take a break, right?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Good/bad trends we've noticed in games this year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just this.
In the industry overall.
This is the part where we can wrap up some stuff that, we don't talk news all that much, and we don't talk about the trends, but there's some stuff, this year that we kind of noticed happening.
Mm-hmm.
And first one is lack of urgency in open world games.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 3 is probably the king of this one, in that the intro cinematic is like, dude,
happening
Earth
now.
is fucked if you don't save Earth. And then it's like, I lost my necklace on the Citadel. I need you to find it. And
It's not even that. No one's asking for your help.
Yeah,
you're just being
you're
creepy stalker
eavesdropping.
guy listening
Yeah.
to people bitch about their lost shit.
Yeah, there is so much side bullshit that does not matter that you're doing. And
I'm Commander Shepard, and I don't give a fuck that the Earth is blowing up.
yeah, I mean, they try and justify it later on. They're like, well, they cleared out the city centers, but all the population has moved out into
Terrible.
the countryside and all. And it's like
Terrible
no,
storytelling.
I saw that opening cinematic.
Yeah.
I played that opening level.
Earth is fucked.
fucked.
Yep. And Shepard got on a ship and was like, be right back. BRB.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Then he just goes to a nightclub and dances.
Yeah, and I will say, a game that we haven't brought up yet, but we will be talking more about is Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
The beginning of that game, we'll talk about that later too, but it's like they set up some heavy duty shit.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, learn how to zipline now, and maybe you can find a glider, and
Dikembe Mutombo narrating Far Cry. Learn how to
Kind
zipline.
of. There's sort of
Yeah.
a guy. Yeah.
but yeah, they intense stuff that you have to take care of. And they're just like, no, drive a car, find this race, and maybe you can race a jet ski later. And
it
I mean,
never drives you towards the races. They're just like, hey, new
I know.
races available.
I'm just
in this
saying,
area.
there's like,
I haven't done race 1 in that game.
I know, but there's all this stuff to do,
Sure.
and it's kind of like the intensity of the beginning story almost makes it like you should not be wasting time on this.
It's no different than like the how big the Grand Theft Autos have become.
I know.
I mean, like
Yeah, but I'm saying
but
that's-
this is presenting you with a personal story of, hey, your friends are fucked. You need to go get them right now.
and you could.
But hang on a second, I got to make a bigger wallet. And
You
I got to
have
talk to
do
this
that.
dude. Well, you
I
don't
guess-
have to. What I'm saying is that
But
the game, it's so giddy to give you the world, which is fine. Open world games should do that. They should
Yeah.
get to the world as soon as
We've
possible.
complained about the opposite of that.
Sure,
Of like,
I know.
oh, you're
Well,
locked in, you can't
But
get
I
there.
think there's a happy medium in there somewhere where I think this game could give you like world time of like, let's say 3 days within the world that they can come up with some story reason for you to just be like, hey, you can't really go there yet. You can't go to the next location yet. You've got 3 days. You've got to stay here until this thing happens. Until then,
I think-
do whatever you want.
I think they need to learn to manage the ticking clock better. I don't necessarily say have only a certain time limit and then you got to do that mission, you know, because I hated when Grand Theft Auto did that.
Right.
Where it was like, no, you got to go kill this guy or this guy. Do it right now.
Yeah.
Quit fucking around.
Yeah.
I did not like that. But these stories present such intense, like, oh my God, this needs to be dealt with as soon as I possibly can.
Right.
Stuff, and then give you the option to just do whatever the fuck and it doesn't matter.
Well,
I think they need to deal with that better.
I do like certain things, like in the Grand Theft Auto, where it goes, no, this is the thing you have to do.
Sure.
You have to deal with this. Because too often, like, Kingdoms of Amalur is a great example. Just, the world is fucking ending, right?
Yeah.
You gotta go figure this shit out, and you gotta unfuck it. But like whenever you get around to it,
Yeah.
I mean, you're the second coming. You're you're what fate has decided will save us.
Sure.
And the world is about to fall apart. There are literally shreds holding everything together. But I don't know. You can go over there and level up by killing some of these dudes if you want. Just hang out. There's a lake over there, and there's a puzzle. You go figure that puzzle out. And hey, while you're over there, would you grab me 3 spider webs and bring those back? I mean, you can do that now, right? You got time? Sure. Yeah, I got this world.
Yeah.
I got this. It's okay. And that kind of annoys me. And that happens in every open world game now.
Sure.
And
I just
probably
think,
in every open world game ever.
I think Mass Effect 3 is the worst offender of this because the situation they present you with is totally fucking dire. Far Cry 3, I think they could have come up with some story reasons why you don't have to go and do the next oh my god big thing yet. You know,
they kind of do, actually. I feel like
Granted, we're not far enough in.
You got mired into like, oh my god, there's things on the map, and I have to go do
I did.
those now.
The map
Yeah.
opened up, and I
That's
was like,
how I
"Oh, look
was
at all
too.
these icons! I'm going to go do all these
Yeah.
things." And then I realized, wait a minute, there's nothing pushing me to go do the mission thing.
Right.
I wish
aside from that little thing in the corner that will pop up
Yeah.
sure.
all the damn time.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, what if there was something like there's an outpost near where the only place that you can cross over to where the next story thing is, and there are certain times of the day-night cycle of this world that outpost is crazy populated, that you will die if you go there, or it's slowed down and there's only a skeleton crew there and you can go easily take it over.
Yeah.
And then you've got to sort of fuck around in the world until that time comes, and then you can go do it if you so desire.
Yeah.
Just,
the
the
they
option
need to
of
balance
pushing
it
you
better.
forward would be better than just, it's open, go.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying storytelling-wise, you can't present a player with this dire situation and then just say, deal with it if you want to.
They should have given you malaria again, because that made me want to get to the bottom of that shit.
Get unmalaried.
Yeah, so I could actually get a cure instead of these stupid fucking sugar pills. Jerks.
Yeah, those are jerks.
Yeah. Next one up, which Asura's Wrath kind of brought this to the fore for me, but switching your controllable character mid-game.
Stop doing this.
It never works.
It's
L.A.
terrible.
Noire, that was the biggest misstep in that game. And granted, that's last year, but biggest misstep in that game, biggest misstep in Asura's Wrath is
Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed 3, Call of Duty.
Blops 2.
Blops 2 doing that.
Blops 2 is even worse because it switches the whole dynamic of the story. But, I mean, this started with what? Metal Gear Solid 2? That was the first real big, instance of this, and everyone fucking hated it. Everyone hated it. Everyone was like, this is the dumbest, how dare you? Mm-hmm. And then what? Every developer since then was like, hey, let's do that. People really dug that. It's terrible. It's a terrible storytelling device.
Because Asura's Wrath, the part where it lost significant amounts of steam for me is as soon as you're not controlling him anymore and you have a second character that you're controlling. And then you switch off between them for the rest of the game.
Started to get worried about that game at that point where I was just like, oh no, this was so good up till now. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit of a staple of the Call of Duty series where you're playing multiple characters.
That's okay.
Those I kind of like.
But I mean,
the way they do it in the newest
the new one is like, it's not just like, oh, you're now controlling somebody. Back in the World War II era, it was like, oh, you're controlling American, now you're controlling a Brit, now you're controlling a French guy. Yeah, it was like, that was one thing. It was like, oh, we're telling different sides of the same story.
Right, because those games weren't just one narrative. It was the whole overarching war effort.
It's not like back then they were like, oh, now all of a sudden you're controlling a Japanese soldier.
Yeah,
what?
Now you're commanding against the Americans.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, that's confusing. I seriously hope no one goes forward with that.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd hope. But I don't get it, because I can't think of a game where I was like, yes, I'm not controlling the guy that I've been playing all game long and getting to know and liking.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do
Grand
something
Theft Auto 5 is doing it.
Yeah, if you want to do something like that, have the decency to make it a DLC separate thing. Like, okay, here's that same story. Like, do the Blue Shift
GTA 4
or the Blue Shift thing for Half-Life, where it's like, oh, suddenly you're playing the security guard Barney or whatever his name was,
or Dead Rising 2.
Yeah.
Where it's the same game, but with the other dude.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's just like, do something like that, where it's like, okay, you want to run through and show how it was different point of view from somebody else, or have the balls to, if you want to make a Call of Duty game, from the other side, make it a whole game.
Right.
Like,
I mean, there's a reason that movies don't do this. If somewhere in the third act of a movie, they spent 20 minutes on something unrelated to the movie, people would lose their shit. It's like, what is happening here? Why is this happening? And if games are going to try to move storytelling-wise to a more film-like medium, you got to stop doing this.
Yeah,
you got to come up with some other way to pad out your game.
How often it showed up.
Yeah, you got to stop.
And how often I was like, this sucks.
I've never heard anyone say, yeah, that was great, when all of a sudden I was this other guy.
Yeah.
Never happened.
I did like it in some of the, not the World War II, but some of the modern Call of Duty games. I kind of liked but it's a little bit different than, I think what you guys are talking about is more switching horses midstream.
Yeah.
Like,
Call of Duty always, from the start, presented okay, you're going to probably be these three guys in different theaters of war around the world.
But they just keep switching you around, so it's not like you get,
you don't get too comfortable with one guy.
Also in Call of Duty, the issue is, your guy is nothing. He's just a guy experiencing it. You're not a character. You're not playing a character. You are playing you with a different name.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Black Ops changed it, and then because Black Ops did it so well, because you're just doing this one dude story.
Ones, it's kind of like
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But Black Ops 2, you're back and forth between at least two characters, and then later you become at least two other characters, and it doesn't. You can't grasp the story they're trying to tell if you keep changing perspective like that.
Yeah. Right. All right, next one up, a little bit more positive, at least for us, is games getting cheap immediately.
Yay!
Which, that kind of blew my, I'm buying 6 games this year, thing, because suddenly everything's fucking $10. Like a couple months after it came out at $60.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many $10 games I bought this year.
I can.
That are all new releases. Like Syndicate, Darkness 2, just game after game after game.
Yeah.
Dirt cheap. And it became, well, I don't think God, think about Need for Speed Most Wanted. Buying that new for $60. 2 weeks later, Amazon's like, hey, it's $40. And then it was the deal of the day for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every time it was like, oh yeah, well, you can get it for $25 today.
But Forza is the bigger offender of that, because it came out last week of October. Week of Thanksgiving, Black Friday, that game is $15 in most places.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I bought 2 copies for different people.
Yeah.
It's got to be, I mean, they're obviously doing it for a reason.
They are.
What I
think
they wouldn't just be arbitrarily doing it. What I suspect is that they've noticed that games have this big rush of sales the first few weeks that they're out,
and it drops
and
off
then they
immediately.
just drop off the face of the planet. So they're trying to, okay, well, we've already made, we make our budget on this initial rush of sales, hopefully,
Right.
and then whatever we make as gravy after that. So why not try to boost the sales with, just throwing the game away?
I mean, the big thing about Forza was that was the Microsoft store, so they can do it because it's their game. They can basically, more or less break even, probably make a few dollars off of it. But I bet they were trying to push the DLC because they've got another thing that's on our list is the increasingly high cost of quote unquote season passes.
Yeah.
And I mean, that has a giant season pass. Granted, it's a lot of content, but it's also a big price tag attached to it for
And I
that
think
game.
that theory makes sense that they dropped it down to 15 and were like, okay, this game has
Maybe
sold
people
to
will buy the $50 season
This is
pass.
sold to all the people who were going to get it at full retail anyway. If we can get it out the door for $15 and people see that there's a big chunk of additional content, they might be more keen on buying it, considering they only paid $15 for the game.
Yeah, but what the hell happened? Like season pass, like the one for LA Noire, $10.
Yeah.
The one for Mortal Kombat, $10. The one for
Gears of War. Well, Gears of War
was like 25.
Yeah, that was like one of the first big
And that was
ones.
high at the time. It was like, whoa, 25.
Yeah, and now it's like 50 for that, 50 for
Black
Ops.
Yeah.
I mean, what the shit?
And that's just map packs. That's just strictly for online people.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I'm trying to remember how much Assassin's Creed's is.
Who cares?
Didn't even look.
Well, yeah, but
But I will say, for a fact, Blops 2 and Forza do not have online passes.
yeah,
So
That is a big...
that is a shift where they're not charging $10 to anyone to get online.
But those are also not EA games, right? Well,
Everyone was doing that.
Yeah.
Last year, that was the thing.
Yeah,
Was the online
Ubisoft
pass.
has started doing that with all their games now.
was
too.
Forza
Passes.
was Forza 4 an online pass game?
I think it was. I think it came new with the game, but then you had to buy.
it wasn't an
code.
online pass, but it was like a bonus pack of. There were certain modes and certain cars that you just didn't get unless you.
Yeah, I don't think Microsoft's ever
unless
been
you
big
pursue
about.
it.
I mean, I think Microsoft. There's probably someone there still with the voice of reason going, we're charging for live. I think people might start making a correlation if we charge an online pass too.
Well, I think especially in the case of Call of Duty and stuff like that, I think if they have to know how many sales come from used copies of that game. They have to. And you just do an analysis of well, if we charge them $10 for an online pass to get on, that's $10 they're not going to spend buying map packs, and then the map pack is usually what gets them into the cycle of buying more map packs. So if we just waive that, and they're like, they don't have to pay that $10 to get on, and they get on and they see there's DLC, they're probably more prone to buy the DLC and then keep buying the DLC. I don't know. It just seems like they can't figure that stuff out yet.
Yeah, but this kind of leads also into the next one: DLC costing more, but delivering less. It feels like the days of stuff like Undead Nightmare are long gone.
Yeah, I don't think we see anything on that level. I mean, yet.
Yeah,
I mean, the Borderlands 2 DLCs are still fairly sizable for
those
the price.
seem to be the only ones.
Yeah.
To be honest, because the Mass Effect Leviathan was like $9, and it was not very long at all, and just didn't add much. Omega was $15, and I didn't even bother buying it.
Yeah,
I think we got spoiled early on, primarily by Rockstar, by what they did with Undead Nightmare and the two giant Grand Theft Auto 4 expansions, where it was like, okay, this is what DLC is. You pay $20, and you basically get half of a new game with a whole bunch of new shit in it.
Yeah.
And now it's as stoked as we were for Saints Row the Third, that DLC was okay, but it was maybe
over
45
really quick,
minutes of content.
Yeah.
I can't really get that excited for, something I download and less than an hour later is over. So
it just feels like more and more, I can remember a couple of years back just being like, man, there's so much good DLC to pick from for the pick of the year. And this year I had trouble even thinking of stuff that I was like, that I would tell people, if you get this game, you get this DLC.
Yeah.
There are very few things left like that. So that's
Borderlands 2 is the only one I can think of. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, it was. I consider if you get Borderlands 2 and you even remotely like the game, you need to get the season pass.
Yeah,
because
I
otherwise,
would agree with that.
You just don't have the game.
And you just can't play with people online
Right.
otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's been a bit of a shift. It used to be you get expansions for games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of the early quote-unquote DLC was. It was expansions.
Yeah.
It was true-to-heart expansions, like $20 and, a whole nother, like you said, half a game's worth of content, or even a quarter a game's worth of content to further that world. And now it's turned into DLC.
Yeah.
They're just starting to shit things out.
It's skins and maps and just frivolous stuff.
Yeah, and like fighting game skins, like none of us have played DOA 5. I have a copy that I ended up getting, but I haven't even touched it. But the DLC, like they're like, hey, here's 10 costumes for $15.
Yeah.
Like some of the prices are ludicrous for skins, basically, for other costumes for characters.
Play dress up for $15.
Yeah, Street Fighter 4 did that too, where it was like, oh yeah, if you want to spend $20, you can get all the skins for the guys.
Well,
and it's
when
like,
it came out, like for like a month after it, like that Street Fighter X Tekken one was like, if you went to the new releases for download content, it was just like, alternate costume, costume, hair, level, map, color pack.
yeah.
And that one also had that weird gem system where it was like you buy
God.
these gems to alter your online profile of how you fight or something, and each gem was its own DLC. So, like you said, you would go into that section for new DLC, and it is just 75 items a day for Street Fighter versus Tekken. It's like, what the shit?
Yeah.
None of this is actual content. It's bullshit.
That should probably go on the list of bad trends. Is like Xbox, their new release thing is just fucked because of games like that. Like,
Yeah, you can't sort it anymore.
Even as much as like we like it, like Rock Band and Dance Central and Guitar Smith or whatever, all those things need to just go away off the list.
It needs to be in its own. They used to have a section.
They need to nest them.
PlayStation Store actually did it better, where at least before the redesign.
Yeah,
Xbox used to have it. They had a music section that was different than all the DLC, and now it's just like. Because not only does it list the new song, it lists, okay, here's the pack it's in. Here's the song by itself. Here's the demo version of the song.
Those are all the Rock Band Network ones.
Yeah.
But still,
there's
no way to look at that new list.
No.
They need to nest those. Like, if there's... It just needs to have,
it's
like
even
the
worse
logo, the box logo, and it says... something like
new Rock Band downloadable
something
content.
like
Well, it should trigger
Rock Band
the app.
downloadable content. New.
Exactly. It should trigger the music store. Like as
Does
soon as
that
you
app even work? The one
Yeah,
that they
it
used
still
to have?
does.
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, that works fine.
I went into that when they did their sale because the store within Rock Band Blitz was broken.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
the actual Rock Band store,
the Rock Band store works
still works
great.
fine.
Yeah.
There was a patch to take all the EA logos off of it, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably the worst worst trend we've seen this year, but studios closing if they're not AAA. It feels like every fucking studio closed this year.
Yeah, if you don't make Madden or Call of Duty, you might as well just close your door.
I don't know,
now.
because there's a kind of a big rise of some indie studios. I mean, like...
But that's what it's become. It's either like you are the big dogs making the top titles, or... you're making your own indie game and doing your little thing.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like
it feels like there's no mid-tier.
no mid-range games.
Really? Because I mean, like I would consider, like, I mean, with their hype and everything, like I think Telltale is practically a AAA studio now, or they're going to be.
They are now.
Yeah.
Or will
if
be
Walking
considered
Dead
that
hadn't
way.
hit, Telltale would be in big trouble.
Yeah, they'd be gone.
But I mean, you got Double Fine is going crazy right now. I mean, you know.
but they are not putting out lengthy, big budget disc-based games.
No.
They are just putting out smaller. I mean, they're critically acclaimed.
They're
and
working.
everything.
Yeah, there are, but those are the exceptions.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
you look at a studio like Raven that has put out a bunch of B-tier games over the years that have been fairly well received, and now they're just making map packs for Call of Duty. I mean, that's basically everyone in Activision at some point is funneled into Call of Duty. That's all they're doing.
And everyone that leaves seems to go into iOS development because they get stuff out quick.
Yeah, all these guys who quit, they all just say,
they're tired
I'm
of
going to
the
make
slow cycle.
Facebook games. You know, it's like,
Tired of long cycle development.
maybe, I don't know. And, you know, we're at a point now where games take so long to make and so much money, and if they don't make their money back, it's like game
Close the
over.
studio,
I mean, it's doom and gloom. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
Making the game is the game.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Game
so
Dev
many.
Story.
Yeah, and you obviously got THQ flat out declaring bankruptcy and getting bought the same day, but
they've
it's
had
still
some bad decisions. And
Oh, look, they ran
failures.
themselves into the ground. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for the management of THQ. I feel bad for things like Volition
Yes.
who makes a quality product. And, as much hit as they've been taking Obsidian because they're making the South Park game, which I think will finally be their game that works.
God, I hope so.
So, yeah.
But what we've seen is everyone's gone to Kickstarter. Kickstarter seems to be the trend of the year for games, because once the Double Fine thing happened, everybody had a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And now it's just a matter of time of waiting for the one that fucks everyone that gave them $1 million. I hate to say it, but that seems to be where that's going.
If I had to pick something, it's probably already happened, and that's that whatever that little thing was that's going to plug into your TV to play like web games on it.
Ouya. It's still
Ouya.
coming.
Oh,
I bought one.
Are they taking the money out of your account?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do it.
Yeah, they take that
once
the
it's
first
funded,
month.
they do it the
Okay.
day that it funds, basically.
Okay. Well,
That's going to fall flat on its face.
I don't think so. They've already given a date.
Vaporware.
No, next week they've
I
said.
can give you a date all day. I can say in a week I'm going to give you $100,000 cash.
I think that is the one thing that will defy all the other goofy ass ideas on Kickstarter. I think that has a number of people behind it who are devoted to putting out a product. Now, whether or not that product, when it comes out, will be anything like what they originally dreamed it would be, that's another story.
That's what I'm saying.
But will I get a physical thing in the mail that I can plug to my TV? Yes, I will.
I believe you will. Yes, that's not what I'm saying. I think it's going to be immediate vaporware. It's not vaporware is the wrong word. I just think it's going to be like worse than the HP touchpad. Like it's going to come and be like, yeah, we gave up on that.
Yeah,
You're probably
you're
right.
going to have another Netflix box. Is what you're going to have.
I'm okay with that.
You're going to get a controller, and when you plug it in, it will play Mario ROMs. That's what you're going to get.
I
Honestly,
have a feeling
that was
this
the
will
reason
be
I want to get
for
one.
$99.
I believe
the
this will be
ROM
an emulation
device.
device that will
That's
work.
all it's going to play. It will be hard coded, like
it's burned into.
It'll be hard coded. It'll be just a controller with the video cable and a left audio cable.
Oh, so it's like the things you get at CVS.
Like the things you buy at the kiosk at the mall. Yeah, that's what you're going to get. It's going to have 4 Mario games,
40 in television favorites.
right?
Yeah,
nice.
But I think Kickstarter is great because it allowed us to get stuff like the Farsight tables. For Pinball Arcade. We would not be getting.
Have we gotten those?
Well,
some people have.
They have showed up on devices.
I can play it on my iPad right here if I wanted to.
They bought the licenses. So
so that made that possible, and for them to be able to sell them for $5 instead of $10, which they basically said the licensing would have cost, and we would have bought it and nobody else.
Yeah.
Because at $10 a table, people you've already hit the point of like, no, that's not happening. So it's nice that they could get, like people like us could get involved and get those tables.
Well, it's putting it out there for people that are looking to support something versus letting it get into the hands and be driven by the kids on Xbox going, you're not at 99 cents. I'm not paying more than 99 cents for a game. Like there's a lot of back flack that comes back from things actually being out in the wild. Like I said, iOS games can die if they're not a 99-cent game because people think that anything more than that is too much. And it's like, how many hours did you play something that cost you 99 cents or even $4.99 or $9.99? People don't even look at it like that anymore. It's like once a price is set for DLC of 400 Microsoft points or 99 cents on the Apple, it's like, you go above that, and then people are like, no, too much money.
Another really good thing about Kickstarter is it's able to keep these games in the hands of the people that really want to make them and love them until they
is the
develop.
Dream. Yeah,
and it doesn't work for everybody, but instead of having to basically get into bed with one of the monsters,
right?
So it allows people to do that, and it's also, in the charitable sense, kind of kicked off things like Indiegogo, which is the charitable giving Kickstarter. So
Kickstarter can be used for good. We
Please
have yet
use
to
it
see
for good.
if that will pan out. I think we're in the first big year of people getting money from Kickstarter.
Well, yeah, and we're finally getting games from it. Faster Than Light is probably the biggest one.
That is probably the success story of Kickstarter that actually got funded, came out, was a great game, and people tend to enjoy it.
Yeah, and
we need
go
to
on
see
Steam
more
right
of
now
that.
and get a copy.
Sure, and we need to see more of that next year. These big things that have been funded over this year, we need to start seeing them come out next year. Otherwise, people are going to start to revolt. And really, all it's going to take is one semi-big project to fail, and people are going to fucking lose their mind. I mean, people are going to be demanding their money back on everything.
Yeah.
So they'll burn Kickstarter down to the ground, which would be fun to watch.
It will be.
But I hope that studios that really want to make dream projects can get the funding to do it.
Yeah.
And that, now that everyone's learned Kickstarter and, how much money they're going to get and how much they're going to have to pay in taxes and how much they're going to have to kick back to Kickstarter, I think now everyone's learning all that stuff, so they're not getting in over their heads with new projects.
I think Kickstarter themselves are doing a better job of kind of
letting them know,
guiding people through that process too. So
yeah,
rocky start, but they kicked it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing. All right, player choice being better integrated is another one that we've seen this year.
Yeah,
in that Walking Dead is based entirely on player choice.
Yes,
and still made it a fun game. No, we're not going to spoil it. Don't worry.
Now, this is similar to something I put on my list because I put psychological/emotional games, and I think it's very similar.
Spoiler alert!
I think they do go together. Yeah.
Because I'm not just simply putting this towards Walking Dead. I mean, I think Far Cry is very interesting in the way that it completely tonally shifts your way of thinking about the game and thinking about the characters that you're presented with. Mm-hmm. Walking Dead, obviously, being that's its main draw. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting this year that it's almost like they're hiring psychology students or something because Walking Dead is fascinating to think about somebody thinking about how to alter people's choices and keep these choices at a 50-50 percentile.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To make, to separate these lines in the sand of wow, okay, too many people are choosing this. Let's tweak it. Okay. Now
they've
it's
had
closer.
some fascinating interviews about that stuff.
Yeah. Right. And that's good. I think for games, that's great that they have taken it to that level of you're not just choosing door number 1 or door number 2. You are making a very hard choice that you're not going to really be happy with either way that pans out, but there is something about you that you are putting into that choice. There's something you are putting yourself in that situation. Like Spec Ops: The Line has 3 or 4 moments in it that are player choice moments where you have to decide awful thing 1 or awful thing 2. Mm-hmm. And they don't necessarily all come together at the end, but at the time that you're doing it, it's like, boy, if I could just not pick either of these, I would be fine. Just let me keep going, and I'll just cover my eyes and my ears, and move on to the next thing. But The Walking Dead does it. Spec Ops does it, where it is, look, choices are hard, and you have to make one now, and you have 10 seconds. Go.
Yeah, I like where it's gone, where it's not, here's the good choice, here's the bad choice.
Yeah.
Here's, because as much as we love Mass Effect, it is very much, here's you shooting a dude in the head, or here's you talking him down off the ledge. Mm-hmm. It's very clear. Okay, this would be the fun choice, and this would be probably the correct choice.
Right.
Whereas these games are like, no, do you weigh your heart versus your brain, as far as what you're going to choose with, which Walking Dead does a lot. And I think that's the key to so many of their choices that are 50-50 choices is It's like, okay, this person makes more practical sense, but I don't want to piss off this person.
Right.
There's
other factors in play. It's not just good choice, bad choice. It's, I kind of agree with that, but if I say that out loud, this other person's really not going to take it very well, so maybe I should sort of play this game and just say ... Yep. And see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
The last one I have on the list, if we're done with that, it's kind of mildly a joke, but also very much the trend I've seen. I'm not going to list it as good or bad.
All right.
It's just a trend I've noticed. This is my 3 trends of 2012. Dubstep.
Whoa. I said that.
Horses. And motion blur. My God. I have seen this in so many games. Obviously, we've joked about the dubstep, but I believe in the future all games will have horses and dubstep. I don't know how they're going to mix the two, but they will. And motion blur. When you get far enough along in Far Cry 3, this is not the only one, but it's the most recent example.
Yeah.
My God, how many times can you get knocked out and have the screen go wonky, blurry? It happens so many times in that game.
Have you ever been knocked out before?
It happens a lot in Black Ops 2. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I mean, there was one point finally in Far Cry 3 where it was just like, my eyes literally are watering because I can't focus on the screen. I'll just focus. Go into focus, please. But yes, those are my 3 trends.
Maybe that's when you're supposed to put your 3D glasses on.
It must be. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, get ready for some of that in Spec Ops.
Really?
Yeah, there's no horses.
No, what?
No horses.
All horse. All the time.
And no dubstep. but 70s rock and blurry screen all the time.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, horses, I will say one of my favorite images of the year was the footage of the motion cap horse for Call of Duty for Black Ops.
Those horses look pretty good.
I know.
Like to the point where you feel bad when a horse gets shot in Call of Duty because it's like, oh no.
No, don't shoot the horse.
Well,
They shoot horses,
Spoilers.
don't they?
Jesus.
I do. Yes.
All right. So on that horse shooting note, let's take a break.
That's
Yes.
horse shit.
We'll get back with some real
This sticky
categories.
situation. Glue.
Are any of these real?
Nothing's
It's all
real.
a dream.
Is this real life?
No, BJ.
Oh, okay.
You're in a cave with mushrooms.
Yes. Finally, my live stream achieved.
All right, welcome back. Second half.
Hey,
Hi.
video games.
Video
Still
games.
a motherfucking
indeed.
favorites of the year
Oh, yes.
For one more half,
for one more half.
The final half.
Ever.
then we die.
Last half.
2012 ever.
So
Get your helmets on.
So,
helmets won't help.
let's just start it off with the older games. Best pre-2012 game we played in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Because we like to go in our back catalogs and sometimes clear out the wall of shame, sometimes find new stuff.
Yeah.
You never know.
Trying to find that weird game.
I got
Yeah.
one big one that wasn't on the list that kind of ties into something I'd much rather play this year than other things.
Go for it.
I didn't play Assassin's Creed Revelations last year, but I played
Oh.
it this year,
Yeah?
and it's a lot better than Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah. Like I said, I would revise my statements about that game from last year.
If it wasn't
with
for
hindsight of Assassin's
if it
Creed
wasn't
3.
for the stupid tower defense section and the utterly worthless first-person sections, that game is as good as Brotherhood. I mean, it's a great location, and like I said, if they hadn't had those stupid little feature creep things, that is a
Yeah.
great game.
I think I just hit burnout when I
Yeah.
played it, and that's why I had such a negative reaction to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hell of a lot better than 3.
Mhm.
Yeah.
crap. Speaking of 3s, Persona Portable 3. Persona 3 Portable.
Okay.
That should have gone on my weird ass games list, but it was older than 2012, so I didn't put it on there. But
Uh-huh.
Persona's weird, but it's really compelling, and it's such an odd blend of like school simulator. Hey, let me be friends with this person stuff, and then running around a dungeon killing things, JRPG style stuff.
I keep hearing things about the Persona franchise, and I can't tell if it's just because they keep releasing some new variant of it every 3 months, or if it's because people really, really, really like that series.
Apparently, Persona 4 is even better. I have the Vita version. I just haven't. I wanted to beat 3 and just haven't been able to get through it. But 4, a lot of people love. A lot of people I really respect their opinions. It's like among their favorite games of all time.
Oh.
So, because I mean, the story is these games have amazing characters.
Mhm.
Like, because you spend so much time talking to people during the school sections before you can get to the dungeon sections, you get to know so many characters and they get to develop them really well. And I think that's what's really cool about those games is there's a huge cast of characters, but they are each distinct enough that they don't blend together for you, and you really enjoy talking to them and getting to know these characters. And I think that's the biggest part of the Persona universe is getting, having all these awesome characters that are in these games.
So you don't just want to hold down the button and let the dialogue scroll by as fast as possible, get it over with.
No.
It's actually worth reading.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
definitely.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, Persona 3 Portable is debatably the best version of that game, but it certainly streamlines a lot of the dungeon parts that sucked in the other releases of Persona 3. So, speaking of dungeons.
Yeah, speaking of dungeons, I was going to put this on the games we played more than we probably should have list, but that would denote that maybe we shouldn't have been playing that game, and you should absolutely be playing this game. Dragon Age Origins with the expansion Dragon Age Origins Awakening. You're shaking your head no. We've already had this
I know.
fight.
Harlow is shaking his head at him.
I think, if I recall correctly, I put 120 hours into both of those combined. I think that is amazing storytelling. I think BioWare nailed those games perfectly, and the rest of the ones that I have on this list don't even come close to it, but I wanted to mention them just because they're good. But man, Dragon Age for me And I played that like I started the first or second week of January. It was just like, well, let's just see what this Dragon Age thing is.
You played that through like all of January.
And then like in February, I was like, I probably should play something else.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, to go along with that, the original Fear and the expansion pack Fear Files on the 360, those are some tense sort of survival horror-y games, but you do have a lot of firepower in them at times, so it's satisfying. Like, you can get your tension out.
Yeah, and it's got that slow-mo.
Yeah.
Oh,
You want to talk about motion blur? Yeah, there's some of that in there.
Yeah, we need to play Fear 2 and Fear 3.
Yeah, we do. I started
'Cause
playing
we
Fear
both
2,
got
but
them
I
and
was
we just-
yeah, I started playing it and I got like a level into it and I was just like, too soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it for 3R? Is it? Did they
Yes.
do that? Okay.
Yeah, the 3 is the
Thur.
E. Yeah, it's dumb. Also, Call of Juarez Bound in Blood, which is the second of the trilogy. The first one was god-awful.
Yes.
It was a
First
broken
one,
game.
shit.
Put it away. The second one is really surprisingly good. It's got good voice acting in it. It's sort of a fun Civil War shooter, sort of a crazy, supernaturally kind of story out of nowhere. Okay. And then yours from last year, Fight Night Champion, the story mode, I discovered it this year. Just terrific. Just,
Goddamn, yes, it
just
is.
fucking fantastic. The rest of that game is just a Fight Night game, but man, that story mode is just terrific. That's the best story mode in a sports game, aside from maybe this year's WWE 13 stuff.
Oh,
but,
no. Doesn't even compare.
but just cheering and just like, fuck yeah, do the things that that have to be done. So, yeah, all of those.
Yeah, I got a sort of a wild card game that I think I got this for free for some reason, but I got Renegade Ops, or maybe it was super on sale around Christmas last year.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
So I remember telling you, get that game.
Yeah, that game is great. That game is a lot of fun, and I wish I don't know who all of you have it, but I would like to play more of that in multiplayer.
I need to put that in the next category because I bought it and never touched it.
Yeah, well, it's actually like I think it's at least a 2011 game, if not older.
Fair
but
enough.
it's a great little game. And similarly, because it was on sale, I picked up Infamous 2 Festival of Blood, which is kind of a DLC thing, but it's a standalone game. It's kind of like the Dead Rising off the record.
Oh.
You know, like you don't have to have the full game to play this. But yeah, I picked that up when it was on sale sometime. I think it was around Halloween this year. It was a PlayStation Plus, like on sale for 99 cents or something like that. And
Makes sense.
that is a great little game. I mean, if you like Infamous 2, but you want kind of a weird supernatural aspect to it, because you very early on and get bit by a vampire, so you're doing the turn into a vampire thing, but you kind of get vampire powers still, and that's a lot of fun. And it still presents you with the morality choices of, do you suck the blood from every human, or do you try to murder vampires?
Life's eternal question.
Yes. And it has one of my favorite moves in a game ever is that you can basically break apart into a flock of bats and just fly around the city.
I'm all for
And
that.
then reappear.
More games should do that.
Yeah. And then you can also couple that with a come out of bat mode into stab vampire mode.
Ooh.
So you just are this flock of bats flying right into somebody and then just, one button stab somebody. It's fun.
Fair enough. It's like that Chuck Norris movie where he turns from an eagle to Chuck Norris kicking a dude in the face.
Sure. It's just like that.
It sounds like it.
That sounds like an awesome movie.
Yes.
Probably the only entry in our FOTYs, possibly, that's not an actual video game of some sort. It is a game.
Analog.
It is quite analog, and that is Cards Against Humanity. Yet another Kickstarter hooray winning story. What the
They call those success stories.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Winning.
Hashtag winning.
A happiness fun story.
That's the best pre-2012 joke that we can make about this.
Oh, God. Yeah, so yet another Kickstarter success story, but Cards Against Humanity, released in 2011. I think I didn't get to play it until 2012, but holy fucking shit.
We do love this game.
One of the most wonderful things to ever happen to cards.
We love it so
Really?
much we almost got kicked out of a hotel.
I was just about to say, we laughed so much, we almost got booted from a hotel.
we got in
Yeah.
laugh trouble,
Yes, we did.
which hasn't happened since fascist Italy.
Right. The only time that people have been just joyously nearly kicked out of a hotel, and the expansions are great. They've been doing, pretty good job of keeping up with keeping up with demand. They've just done their Christmas pack, their holiday pack, which was a pay what you want, and of course they managed to do a good thing with it, and they donated all of their profits from that to the Wikimedia Foundation to shut Jimmy Wales the fuck up.
I approve. Can I still buy this?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just sent him a blank check for that.
Yeah. So Cards Against Humanity is definitely my choice. I love that game. If you could marry a card game and not be a complete weirdo, I would marry that card game.
Just give it time.
I will.
Society will be there soon.
Thanks, Obama.
No, you mean that sincerely. Thanks, Obama, for working on that.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, let's move on to 2012 games that we want to play next year. This is basically the part where we can say, this is why this isn't on the list.
Right.
Sure.
This is us saying, I ran out of time.
Yeah. Mine's Max Payne 3.
That's also mine.
Yeah. I got a copy sitting there waiting to be played, and just, I have not been in the mood to play it yet.
It seems like you got to want a real specific mood to play that one.
What? Yeah. No. Gotta play Max Payne 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And Halo 4 I started and just got sidetracked by Kablooey and Far Cry 3 and Asura's Wrath and just a bunch of other games. And
similar to that, I put Dishonored on this. I've played about an hour and a half, but I wouldn't say I've played the game.
Yeah.
Like, it just needs to go back into rotation.
Yeah. I mean, I liked what I played. I just got sidetracked by other games that that grabbed me more because I'm not necessarily a Halo guy as far as being all down with those stories. So I kind of moved on quickly.
Yeah, also, Sleeping Dogs is a game I picked up for cheap and quickly put aside and said, you know what? I need time. This is an open world game. I can't just breeze through it in a few hours, so let's just hold that for January, February, when there's no games, even though January and February is loaded with games. So
yeah, and I tried that enough to know it wasn't for me, at least at that time.
Yeah. And I was sort of going on that. You saying, it's like, oh, this is an open world game with lots of stuff going on, and just not time. No time.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, Mark of the Ninja, I did not like the studio that made it because I ended up just kind of hating Shank by the end of it.
Oh.
And knowing that it was the same guys made me kind of pass on it. But then I played the demo and I was like, holy shit, I need to play this game. And there are plenty of other people that have told me, holy shit, you need to play this game. And I've
heard a lot of that.
I hate to say it, but I've just been waiting for it to go on sale.
It'll be on sale.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, I've seen it on a list.
Then I will have a copy of Mark of the Ninja and I will be playing it because that, as far as the demo goes, that game seems great. Yeah. It seems like it fixes all the crap that I didn't like from Shank, but keeps that style of art that I really enjoyed.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for that purpose, demo only for me is I played a Sniper Elite V2 demo, and I really want to play more of that game.
Remember you talking about that?
I forgot that came out.
Yeah, and I've kind of had that on my wish list and waiting for it to hit that like sweet spot $20 mark, and I think I'll pull that trigger. No pun intended. But yeah, I want to play more of that. And
so that game is in your sights, is what you're saying?
Yes,
okay.
I did play that game. I'd completely forgotten that I played that game.
Oh,
because it's not on any available list of.
You played the demo.
No, I played.
That's right. You played it.
I played it with my brother over the summer.
Yeah, that's right.
We did the controller handoff thing, and that is a glorious way to play that game. And I fully intended to play more of it, but it's one of those that just kind of not a whole lot of buzz happened around it, so I've kind of forgotten it.
I would really like to see a version of that game that's not set in World War II, just because played out era. I mean, like I would like to see a tropical, like possibly a Vietnam era one, but basically just a tropical area like Far Cry, because I've always wanted to, like, strangely enough, play the scenario of like the sniper movie with Tom Berenger.
Oh
like,
yeah,
like
who hasn't wanted?
Yeah, I want to be that, like I'm hiding 1,000 yards away in the shit and like crawling on your hands and knees and that kind of thing. Like
Berenger and Billy Zane are probably both available. Let's make Sniper the game.
Yes.
Now, let's do that.
Sniper
so
Elite
I'm just saying,
V3
like,
Sniper.
I mean, that mechanic in that game, I think, would blend itself perfectly. Like, I want that kill cam, X-ray vision thing, but I want a more modern-y sniper.
There's some stuff they got to fix, but
yeah.
Well, what if they do an expansion for Far Cry 3 where it's just you are a sniper on the island?
They're sniping
during
Far Cry
the
3
events.
Sniper.
Yeah, there's sniper stuff in that. It's just
no, but I'm saying the whole DLC is another character on the island at the same time as all this other stuff going on, just hiding out sniping shit.
Okay, sure. Take the technology from Sniper Elite V2, and I'm
trying
on board.
to snipe you.
Yeah.
Ooh. What about co-op, where one is the sniper and one is
The sniper.
the
Counter
snipey?
sniper.
I don't know.
Counter sniper.
I like Snipey.
Snipist.
Snipey.
Yeah. But there's a lot of things about that game I like.
Snipist.
I like that you actually have to, watch for, scope flare and things like that. I mean, there's a lot about that game that just very much intrigues me.
It seems like the Steel Battalion of sniper games.
Not quite as many
It doesn't.
controls.
No, I know.
It doesn't go like super wacky. You can kind of go into holy shit. This is way more complicated than you ever need in a sniper game mode. But
That's
You
all.
have to plug in your Nintendo Super Scope to play it. Yeah.
like that.
Sold.
Maybe they'll do something with,
I was gonna say
with the
that-
Wii U.
They've already have that Steel Battalion sniper game. That was an arcade game. I don't remember what it
Silent
was called.
Scope.
Silent Scope.
Yeah,
Yes, 1
Silent
and 2.
Scope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That was it. That was your
That's
Steel
the
Battalion.
arcade machine.
There you
I always felt bad being good at Silent Scope and then walking away from the game and people giving me looks like,
Oh,
don't-
dear.
Yeah, because you could watch people
Don't
play
talk to
that
that
game,
guy.
like
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
watch over their shoulder and
That's
see.
why
how,
I carry a bag of rocks with me, because I do really good at the game, and I throw a rock and they turn around and I'm just gone.
that's the way to do it.
Jesus.
Theatrics.
Or just stand up right in front of them. Like I was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Sleep.
Oh, my favorite thing ever. So,
Yeah.
who else has stuff?
I don't know who put it on the list, but it is also on my list. Far Cry the Third.
Yeah.
Because obviously I love the shit out of Far Cry 2.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've seen of Far Cry 3, it is a game I want to put into me.
Well, you should put it into your game system.
Well, that's what I mean.
I was going to let you borrow it, but
Yeah,
I
you
don't know about
can't
that.
borrow my copy.
No.
I need my own copy because I'm going to have that fucking game for a long fucking time.
Okay,
I
then.
have an idea.
Yeah, I played it for a good 6 or 7 hours, but apparently I played it wrong. So
Yeah, you
I'm
need
looking.
to learn how to game.
Turn off your OCD and play more story.
Dude, there are things on the map. I have to
there
go
will
get
always-
things.
always be things on the
Yeah,
map.
you didn't realize how far down that map goes south.
No, I
Yes.
know. I just on that map, it looked like the next story beat was so far away, and I didn't realize it was literally 45 seconds away from where I just had to get on a jet ski for 10 seconds, and I was there. So now that I know that things aren't miles and miles away,
Yeah.
I'll progress.
And that tanker part's good.
And apparently, travel isn't as
It's not as cumbersome.
heinous
No.
as Far Cry 2.
I don't know. I ran into the same thing you did, where
And
it
you can
just
save anywhere.
Jeeps out of nowhere, fucking
But
running you over.
when you take an outpost in an area, the patrols stop.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But you
man,
still,
just-
man, you hear that Jeep and you're like,
Oh fuck it!
I'm like, what? Smash. And then
Fuck.
as I'm flying through the air, another Jeep comes the other direction, smashes the rest of me.
That's Far Cry 2.
I don't know when we're
Cry
going-
Far Cry
International.
3 does the same
Yeah.
thing.
I don't know when we're going to talk about Far Cry 3, but now I feel like I have to share it. I was standing in the middle of the road, no cover anywhere around, and I hear the Jeep coming. I turn, look at the Jeep, and one shot the driver through the windshield, and the Jeep full of like 3 other guys goes careening off the road, flips like 3 times and explodes, and they were all dead. And I was just like still standing like in the middle of the road, and I was like, this is Far Cry. I was like,
Yes.
I fucking love this.
So at the end of
Yep.
that, you just needed to deal with it. Sunglasses coming down.
Pretty much, yes. Press left bumper to deal with it.
Yeah.
so do we have any more that we want to catch
I have
up
one
on?
more, and
All
this
right.
is like
And I have another entry as well.
this is weird that like I haven't gotten this because it's not expensive. It's just with Diablo and everything else, loot wise out there. Torchlight 2.
Yes.
Yay.
Why have I not
Yes.
picked up Torchlight 2? I don't understand it.
I love
But
the
don't
demo
know.
so much.
I didn't even demo it. It's just like it to me. I love Torchlight 1 it so much. It was like this is a given. I need this game, but it hasn't happened.
It is a more. It's a mo better Torchlight.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, that's what
just,
it is.
It's just weird.
I love
Like
that
that,
Spike
I
Lee
feel
movie.
that of all of them on there, I feel like pretty guilty that I don't have that.
Yeah, especially.
As much, I mean,
They're
I
doing
played,
such good things. They need. I need
played
to give them my money.
I played the shit out of the PC, and then I did it all over again on the 360. So it's,
Maybe that's what we're waiting for is a 360 version.
it's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, it would have happened by now.
And the only other one I have on my list is basically strictly because I'm unemployed, and this is a portal I don't need to open.
Oh.
Skylanders Giants.
Ah, yes.
Not going to do it.
So you're saying once you start working again, you will go down that path?
I will go down that path. Yes.
All right, sir.
So it's out there. I know it's out there. It just hasn't happened because
Because money.
I don't need more plastic figures.
Sure.
Understandable.
Sell your originals.
No, they work in this one.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
a fucking kid's game.
No, all your originals like maintain their level and carry right over into this one. There's just more dudes and giant dudes that
I
you
love
can
dudes.
include.
I've heard that.
What?
Final entry in this category is all of them.
All of the games? All the
yes.
games you did not play this year.
All the games that I did not
You
play.
need to play Solitaire 2012. I hear they've done some
the
massive
Vegas
upgrades.
mode in that is
I am
just
playing
fucking phenomenal.
the 2012ist Solitaire you can get, I
Well,
guess.
I know Minesweeper on Windows 8 has achievements.
Yeah.
So I wonder
Ooh.
if Solitaire does.
Yeah, you should upgrade to that
Windows
Windows 8.
I'm not getting Windows 8.
Get you some solitaire achievements.
Nope. Nope. But seriously, I need to play more fucking games again, as usual.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome to every year.
Yeah, that's
Welcome to every December.
I'm just going to play a
talking
clip
to
of you saying that last year.
you should just gather all the clips of me. Man, I need to play more games. You can put an hour show together.
I'll
with
make that your
clips of me.
ringtone.
How depressing will it be if you're playing through The Walking Dead finally and the Mayan apocalypse happens?
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna be pissed
you
if the
never get to
apocalypse-
see how it
and that
ends.
is one we need to add to the list. You
Yeah.
did your due diligence. You tried to
Right.
go out and buy a copy of Walking Dead.
And it was
The retail
not.
version.
Yeah, I went to
The
I went to
yellow
a
and blue
GameStop.
store. Oh.
Where I fully expected, they are the place where you stop for game.
Yeah,
So-
it's right there in the name.
I assumed.
Stop here for a game.
Right, stop game. Game, stop.
Well, they stop games. They should be Game Shop,
Yes.
or Game Buy.
Game Go. Game
How
here.
about Game Have?
Game Have. Game Have would be a good store.
I would like to go to a Game Have. Because they had like 900 copies of all the bullshit that I don't want to play. But they do not have,
The one bullshit you do want to play.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't pre-order,
That ain't-
so
Yeah,
whatever.
you got to pre-order.
God, you gotta
wanna
pre-order.
pre-order anything today?
Were there any pre-order bonuses for?
There actually was, and I'm sort of kicking myself for not doing it because
What
there was a
was-
very nice limited edition set that came with like a 448-page compilation of all the comics up through.
That's
a certain
pretty
point.
cool.
And like
but
when they
that's
announced
a collector's edition. That's not a pre-order bonus, right?
no, well,
Okay.
but it was a GameStop exclusive.
Okay.
So you could. It technically was a pre-order bonus because
They
once
sold out.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
But man, when they announced that, I was just like, I don't really want it. And then like a day before, I was like, I want that so bad, and it's gone.
That's what happens
You can buy a compilation book. You don't have to kick yourself too hard.
Okay.
There's big giant $50 Walking Dead compendium or whatever thing.
Yeah.
I want a pretty box.
So I went to the GameStop and they didn't have it. And then I went to a Best Buy because it was close.
Yes.
And it is the best.
And it is the best place to buy, theoretically, on some planet. And
More like no buy, am I right?
yeah, more like you wish you could buy.
Like Best Buy, worst have.
Yes, pretty much. Because they nearly did sell some other items to me just by the sheer fact that I was there and I had money.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't even have a little card for it on the shelf, which was thoroughly worked over. But still, I tried, and I'm still going to do it.
Okay.
I'm not giving up on my
Good.
My tour depression.
Good.
Sweet.
So
Good. We'll get you there.
and I have a plan. I wanted to try to play it this weekend because I've got a long weekend and Christmas to recover from the depression. But
Sure, because that's always a good idea. Get depressed around Christmas.
well, like Christmas, I'm always happy about Christmas.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am a
Just wait.
I'm a pro Christmas individual.
Are you simply having a wonderful Christmas time?
I was.
Yay!
I was until that one time when my dad and the chimney and Santa costume and stuff, and ever since then
I thought that was Lincoln's birthday.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
So yeah, all of the games plus The Walking Dead.
Right.
Good deal.
All the games plus
So,
one.
best soundtrack.
Yeah.
Bladow.
We might as well just say The Walking Dead. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah. It's
subtle, but good.
it's not something you would just put on and listen to. Like, I don't think it would work in terms of just like, I'm going to jam out to the Walking Dead soundtrack. But situationally, it's very appropriate and enhances whatever emotion they are trying to get you to feel.
I didn't pay enough attention to credits. Was it mostly an original soundtrack, or did they pull elements from the TV show? Because there was one
Oh, no.
musical...
It was all original.
All original?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one very musical cue that's very close to the Bear McCreary from the TV show. Like there's like a big moment from the TV show that it sounded very similar in the
They
game.
may have aped it, but
Sure.
it was, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's all
Okay.
internal. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that song they play over the credits.
Mm.
Whenever I need a good depression, I will play that song.
Well, my favorite thing, I won't mention, well, I'll mention it off the air, but it's in-game musical kind of cue. Like it's naturally happening in the game. You probably might know what I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
I just thought that was like a fantastic touch.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And
you guys
then,
are being so good at not spoilering. I'm very happy.
That is a game you need to experience
Yeah.
clean.
any information you get about the game will affect your approach to it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's always a treat for me when the soundtrack is incorporated to actually be happening in the movie or game or whatever, where it's like, this isn't happening in an ethereal music world. This is like person playing instrument, singing song, doing whatever in the world, and that's, or even if it's coming from a speaker in the world and sounds appropriate. That's always good and interesting.
Yeah.
Next,
Mass Effect 3. We're just talking about music that enhances emotion. The opening sequence of that game that takes you into the title card, with the exception of the Inception noise that accompanies that theme, which is also on the soundtrack, unfortunately. It's not like a sound effect. It is part of the score. That's a bit unfortunate, but the opening sequence music, the sequence at the midsection,
Tuchanka.
Yes, the whole like heroic rise and then the depressing fall of that midsection is great. And then, sort of as lame as the end of that game is, the music in it is still really, really good. And I mean, that fucking 10-minute space battle gear up and, all push all that into that. The score with that is great too. I mean,
isn't that Clint Mansell?
No.
Mass Effect 3, or did he only do 2?
He
did something, right?
They had a rotating
part
group.
of it.
Yeah.
But like he did most of the first 2, but they've kind of.
I think he only did like the tracks.
They're still picking up cues that he used.
Yeah.
Like the one that's the finale is actually the main menu music from the first game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, or at least
it's been a collaborative effort.
Yeah, I'm just saying
way.
it's interesting to me that video games have hit that point where it's like, let's hire well-known movie and TV music directors and stuff. That's pretty incredible.
Sound shapes. Specifically the Beck Cities level.
It's almost not fair to say that it's a soundtrack because it's kind of different every time. Like if you don't play the game right or you don't hit everything, it's going to sound different. But the musical aspects that are there are pretty incredible.
It's just amazing that you hit a certain thing and that's what kicks the beat on that level to pick up.
I would equate that sort of to like that game Chime, where you're sort of affecting the music as you play it, but once you get it going, it's like, oh yeah, this is how this is supposed to sound. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just like, thinking back to the Beck level, I mean, like the little things like the evil red missiles that are the baseline and the way that they move, they just have that movement thing, and it's to the music. It's pretty incredible. Like seeing that stuff play out, like watching the song unfold.
Yeah. I mean, that game is based on the soundtrack.
Sure.
Like that's how each level
It
presents itself.
Almost not even fair. It's like that's if that wasn't good, why would you even have made the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. And one that I absolutely love, Chuck may argue some of this, but
I won't argue.
I think whoever did the music, whoever created the choices for Forza Horizon is a fucking genius.
Yes.
Because almost every single track in that game makes me want to drive as fast as I possibly can. And that's what you want in a racing game.
If I can pick out like 3 songs from Most Wanted and throw them into Forza's soundtrack rotation, and
to further hammer that home, I played about 2 hours of Need for Speed last night because the new DLC came out and was just skipping so many songs on the soundtrack is so weak in that game. And
then there's like 3 awesome songs in it.
Yeah. And not only, as we've talked about, not only is the music in Forza great, it is integrated so well into your game.
It feels like a real station.
Yeah,
you're listening to.
Yeah, I mean, the station is well presented. The sound mix is perfect. You're hearing what you should hear. It's not just like, and here are some tracks that are playing over the game. I mean, it's all very well done. The sound design overall on that game is just amazing.
Yeah.
So,
and we did talk about that last episode. Where all the engine sounds sound loud, but you can still hear the music clearly.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And none overwhelms the other.
Yeah, no. I spent 15 minutes last night trying to fix percentages in the Need for Speed menu of game sounds and soundtrack to figure out how do I get this to sound good. Didn't get it.
Nope. No.
Forza gets that right.
I think most of us that have played it substantially can agree that Borderlands 2 has a pretty amazing soundtrack.
Really, 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 really good. I actually went out and found a YouTube video while I was at work, and it was the entire soundtrack. Like, it's just one YouTube video, entire soundtrack.
Wow.
And I just sat down, plopped it in, did some work. And it's, besides being really good to listen to outside of the game, I really, 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 really like it in game too. It's got this kind of, a lot of the parts have this interesting Western feel, and then when the action starts, it turns into this crazy sort of dubstep chaos music that is perfect for the kind of shit that goes on in that game. It's like, all right, everything is fucking everywhere, and blah, 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 blah. And it's, it's shaking your brain and your eyes. So
there's a lot of good variety in it.
yes.
It's not like there are very different styles and diverse styles in it. And I believe it's all Jesper Kidd that did all of it.
Yeah, I believe he did the first one and this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's mostly location based. I mean, there are several musical cues for each location, but each location kind of has a feel to it. Like
Right.
warp over to this area and it sounds like this. My personal favorite is actually in the Scarlet Booties DLC. The Magnus Lighthouse is one of the last areas you go to, and like I've always, I was always like enjoying the soundtrack, kind of it's good background music. Like I'm always like appreciative that it's there. That was the first time I walked in the area and was like, holy shit, yeah, this music. Like that was the first time it really just clicked and was like, I am totally digging this music. Like it was always just good to be there in the background. But yeah, that one's just like it's like an Ennio Morricone thing that morphs into dubstep but not like a robot's fucking dubstep, just like a good decent little dubstep beat.
Oh,
Right.
there's a difference.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes,
and
My
old
ears
man.
cannot detect the difference.
It's not a filthy drop.
It's
It's
all
just
robots
a
fucking. I mean-
dubstep is actually more the beat. The filthy drop is something that was later invented. Whatever.
and the menu music is like the world's best background music for me. I can pause that or go back to the menu on that game and just turn the volume up on the TV and go about my chores or whatever. Or
That's the way Saints Row was for me last year. It was
Yeah.
just like that menu music. Just please keep playing that. Yeah.
Well, it's unfortunate that Cage the Elephant was like kind of a one-hit wonder because they didn't bring them back. But goddamn, grabbing the heavy for your 2 licensed songs in that game.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Cage the
Very
Elephant
good choice.
has other songs. They all sound like that one
Yeah,
song.
I know. I'm just saying, like it's the heavy's pretty solid all
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
The
and they
weirdest
really nailed that.
The weirdest thing
Ain't
about
no
that
rest
is like
for the wicked.
I don't understand in the heavy song that plays during the opening cinematic why it didn't start with the Ennio Morricone part. Like if you license a song, like because there's like a lead up and then all of a sudden there's no music and then the song kicks in about a minute and a half into the actual song. I don't know why that wasn't playing in the background up to it. Would have been so good, but
Who knows?
They just wanted to kick it.
sure, yeah, drop it.
Yeah. One of my picks, Asura's Wrath. Again,
Are you Asura about that?
Asura's Asura? That's actually how they say it in the game. Asura.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Asura's Wrath. But
That is some pretty fucking epic music. What I heard of it.
Yeah.
and the thing is,
it has to be because the shit that's happening in that game demands the most epic music ever.
There is a sword fight you have on the surface of the moon
Ooh,
that is like
moon
it's
fight.
like it's
Forgot
like
about that.
Is it with
Wagner.
Steve?
Yeah, it's like Wagner kicks in, and it is just like the most epic thing you've ever done.
What I heard, I was like, "Is this fucking Carmina Burana?" Because I mean, it's just like it's crazy.
But there's also Yasha, the other character that you end up controlling later on. They have a Western theme for him.
Yeah.
They have the whistling over like slide guitar.
Yeah.
And that theme is fucking phenomenal. Like, the music is so good, but it is just epic as shit.
I need to take the time to go watch. Someone also put a YouTube video out there that's basically you could just watch somebody play Asura's Wrath.
You should sit
think
down and
there's
do
a
that.
Because I don't necessarily think I want to play it. Like I would play it on baby mode maybe, but like
That's the way I played it, and it's entertaining as hell.
yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, because honestly, like you don't even need to do the QuickTime events. I mean, you really don't.
No, they just give you score at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like Dragon's Lair. If you don't push the right direction at the right time, you fail.
I'll go have to look at the video and see how the quality is because I don't want to sacrifice quality for pushing a couple of buttons if that's what's needed.
Yeah. And mine, I'm just throwing this in there because of how well it does it, but SSX, custom soundtracks, made them work perfectly in the game. And not many games pull that off correctly. But I mean, it's like one of the menu options is custom music. Pick your playlist. Here you go.
Yeah.
And
they
that
haven't
made-
gotten that right in a long time.
Yeah. And
That's
that
weird
one
because it
got
used
it
to.
right.
Yeah,
just
it used to have little
perfectly.
checkboxes like I hate this song, take it out of
I mean, they even have it where you could set different types of events, get different type of songs. The menu music, you could set it to be your music.
That's very smart.
Yeah, they did everything correctly. And I mean, I didn't mind the soundtrack they had, but when you play as much SSX as I did, you've heard those 30 songs enough times that you're like, all right, where is my custom soundtrack with songs that I always want to hear? So, moving on. Best section of a game.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a level, not necessarily cinematic, but a section of a game that you feel was the best of the year.
Thematic chunk of game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest one I felt was the entire Tuchanka section in Mass Effect 3, specifically the ending. That completes one of the biggest character arcs in the game.
Yeah.
In the franchise, really. I mean, it's...
Yeah, it had been going since early on in the second game.
Yeah, because you were resolving a huge conflict and
a personal conflict for that specific character.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate having to be spoilery about it, but like that is one of the best sequences I've ever played and one of the most affecting moments in a game that I've ever had.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was rough.
Where that one hit me more than anything in Walking Dead did.
Mm-hmm.
I know you will differ on opinion with that, but that one, like, the way...
I bawled like a baby, like at the end of Babe.
The way that cinematic is presented with and the way the music...
Yeah. It's
and keep in mind,
rough.
this is the Paragon route, because I've watched the Renegade route, which is just...
If you do the Renegade one, you're a fucking asshole.
The Renegade one is like, you're a complete, like...
Just how dare you?
Like,
I don't want to know you.
Yeah, it's not even like a... The way they present the Renegade in that section, too, is it's not even a alternate choice. I mean, it's just like, no, you're just flat out evil for doing
Fuck
this.
You are not doing what you were about to do.
Yeah, but the way that plays out if you do the Paragon section is just phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep. It's pitch perfect. I mean, just the way...
And maybe that's why the ending kind of sucks, is because
that's a higher high.
It can't possibly match how that section plays out.
Yeah. But I mean, even all the lead up stuff to that, the whole fighting everything that you're doing in that level before then, fighting
such a high,
just fighting the big ass worm things and all that stuff. It's
good.
It's such an epic chunk of game.
Mm-hmm.
There, best epic chunk of game.
Maybe we should have led with that one, because now everything feels like a cop out.
Well,
but on a much, much, much lower scale, we have the Beck Cities level and sound shapes.
Yeah,
it's
a perfect integration of music and gameplay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's to the level of when characters go in the song.
Yeah.
There is a platform that forms with
like a
writing
cloud.
out the A so that you can jump on it. So you have to wait the point in the song where someone sings and that pops up as part of the level that you jump on.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the bombs moving in time to the beat of...
And I mean, for days and days after I first played it, it was the move a little, turn a little.
Yeah, which as it's writing that, as it's changing the shape of one of the items
and then
in the level.
It
hurt
switches
a little. Yeah.
Hurt a little.
And then, or lose a little, which it disappears altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's
so good.
Like
that's brilliant, really.
It is one of the best
genius.
levels in any particular game I've ever played. Like, just the integration of everything involved in that level, because the art style is fucking awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks like hand-drawn illustration, but it's all animated, obviously. And just everything about that level, I think, is perfect. And it's kind of sad that that's so high a bar that the rest of that game can't quite match.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of it is, don't get me wrong, very interesting. And I really like the aesthetic of the Super Brothers level where you're in the office
and there's
building.
a lot of neat stuff that goes on in that level.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's sad to me. Like, I was second to the Beck level. I was looking forward to the Dead Mouse levels, and I just... Aesthetically, they look cool, but the music just feels really lazy.
Didn't fit his stuff at all.
It's very lazy.
It was much more laid back than I figured.
I think
it would
like
be.
if there was a progression in the game, that should have been like the last level, and it should have just been his crazy, almost dubsteppy, like really fast. Like that should have just been like, oh, okay, here's your pro expert level right here, go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
So this is going to be mildly spoilery in that we're pointing out a section that happens in this game that we've been very evasive about.
Go ahead.
But specifically the getting locked in the freezer level in Walking Dead.
Yeah, in episode 2.
Episode 2.
That was the first time I said, holy
Should
fuck.
I close my ears and walk away?
No, it's just like, just to say you will get shocked by something that happens there, and there's no way you'll see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, like...
But it makes perfect sense after it happens.
I'll say this. Episode 2 starts with a thing where it's like you have a limited time to make a decision, but you're going to make this decision and it's going to be awful. That's how episode 2 starts.
I'm so looking forward to this game.
You get to the freezer sequence, and it's like, oh, fuck. This might happen, and this might happen, and this person's yelling at me, and we've got to do this, but... and you've got, like, 10 seconds to make a decision. It is one of the most stressful, dramatic moments of a game that I've yet to come across in any kind of story-based situation at all. Yeah. And then, depending on how you resolve that situation, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it has repercussions all the way into the next game.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is definitely like you are on one side or the other from that point forward. Mm-hmm. Like, you are forced to just go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, since we're talking about The Walking Dead, I will just go ahead and say that the entire final sequence of the final episode of The Walking Dead, Jesus Christ, is...
Yeah, they put you through the ringer.
For me, the most emotional reaction I've ever had to a video game, which is why I'm so high on this series, because to have that kind of emotional reaction to a video game is pretty new, that the storytelling has gotten to the point where it can do that. And I think it's soul crushing to me the way that game plays out, but it's also perfect. They didn't fuck it up in any way, shape, or form. They hit everything they need to do. And just there are some gameplay moments thrown into there that are futile, but it makes you do them anyway. And it's like you're just hoping that you can hit the button fast enough. It's not going to happen, but you just hope that you can. Mm-hmm. And the the way they make you do that repeatedly 3 or 4 times is just I don't know, to have that kind of connection with a video game is incredible to me.
There's also being vague about it, but you are in a way controlling another character by giving them orders in that section.
Yes.
That is an interesting shift of how that game is played.
Yeah.
Because
unlike our least favorite trend or whatever that was, where we were saying where you switch
control.
I mean, it's not the same.
No.
You're always Lee, but just the way it controls is it almost becomes first person where
you're influencing.
Yeah.
At the end,
where you have it's an interesting way of kind of transitioning into what you'll be doing in the next episode.
It's almost a total transference of first season to second season all in one scene. Mm-hmm. It's really well done.
Yeah, it's one of those endings, and I've played both endings at this point now. I went back and I did the rewind, and I just did it with the alternate version that you had done.
Yeah.
Which I think
is the only real ending.
They're not as different as you think. I think the dialogue choices play out very similarly.
I think the impact of the way I chose to end my game is stronger than the final shot of the way the other choice plays out.
I agree with that.
That's all I'm really saying. I don't think story-wise it's much different at all. I'm just saying in terms of emotional beat at the end of that game just is an additional gut punch, which I just, as much as I don't like to feel sad, to feel something for something is good. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and there's
a
lot of character. There's a lot of characters over the course of that game that to get attached to, and you'll be kissing a lot of those characters goodbye.
Don't do that.
The end of that game.
Don't do that at all.
Just put it that way. I mean, it's a freaking zombie apocalypse. That's what happens. But
like they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to switch gears. Okay, patriotism boner time, because approaching the Bonaventure Hotels segment in Blops 2, which is just basically shit's gotten real, and you've got to get from point A to point B while you're protecting President Kate Bosworth.
Okay.
Stop saying that.
I'm sorry. She's President Bosworth, and the first thought in my mind is always, why is Kate Bosworth
What if she's the daughter of Brian Bosworth?
Yeah, I was about to say Brian Bosworth.
It's still stupid. Anyway.
No, that's amazing.
Okay, whatever.
The Boz?
Yeah.
President Boz?
President Boz, come on.
Yeah. Hocking loogies on the Russian Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah.
I just, that's when that game for me really kicked into high gear. Like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Get out of my country, whoever you are. Bad
Drones.
guys. Yeah. Robot helicopters and shit. I'll fucking blow all you up. So, as far as pure action, that's the best segment of that game, I think. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say it, I mean, we've talked about it, but Asura's Wrath has a whole bunch of high points. I know I keep like this seems to come up in every discussion at this point, but that first level that I had to show Harlow that level, and it did not disappoint because at first he's like, "Wow, there's a lot of this chick talking about warriors of Shinkoku and other bullshit."
Yeah.
But once the planet opened up and a giant fucking monster came out, he was like, "Yep,
yeah.
I want to watch the rest of this game right now."
Basically, a fourth of the planet opens up, and this giant fucking monster just emerges and growls at you.
And in the final level, it gets worse.
Oh yeah, yeah. That
it is worse.
That thing
in the
is
final
nothing
level
compared to what it was.
But I mean, and these are high points in a game where you have a sword fight on the moon, and eventually get stabbed by a sword that stretches all the way to Earth.
Yep. Sure, why not?
Well,
hey,
you
it's not the size of the sword; it's how you use it.
You destroy a god that is bigger than the planet at one point. I mean, this is the level of craziness that this game has. But the first and last levels, I think, are the ones that like reach this scale of you've got to be joking.
Well, I mean, the first level really sets the stage of this game's going to have some weird shit in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like they saw God of War and they're like, nah,
not crazy enough.
We should go bigger.
Yeah,
that's exactly how they thought about
Japan.
Japan.
Exactly. That's what they did.
What did they do? Japan.
They Japanned it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite sections of game moments of 2012 was in Borderlands 2, hitting Sanctuary and discovering that several of my favorite characters from Borderlands 1 were there to give me more.
More what?
To become characters, actually. That was one of the most pleasant things about it. I mean, they were always just kind of people, or people you're playing before.
Oh, no, I'm not even talking about playing as the heroes from, or seeing the heroes from Borderlands 1. I'm talking about Moxie and Scooter and Marcus, and of course, we get Claptrap from the beginning, but...
So the supporting cast from 1 pops up.
Yeah, like when I saw the Moxie's bar, I literally had this big smile on my face. I'm like, Moxie!
Did you run?
She's here. Yeah, I ran.
And he motorboated her.
Yeah. I ran and I'm like, run up to the bar. Look, it's Moxie again. Hooray. Because then your face gets all, pasty from all
chapped.
Yeah. From all the powder and stuff. But, rarely have I had just a silly excitement moment in a game like that.
Yeah. It's like coming home.
Yeah, exactly. It's like finally here's something that's easily recognizable and relatable that kind of ties this world together. Because it feels very different when you start that game.
Sure.
There's a different feel, even though there's some kind of visual cues that you're used to. Those people make it, like walking into Cheers or something, and
finally the Rock has come home to Sanctuary.
Yay!
Yes, yeah.
Finally,
yeah. Even though they don't know your character, it still feels, like
you know
them.
And that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Made me very happy. Made a little boy happy that day.
Aw.
All right. A more recent one.
Mm-hmm.
The opening sequence of Far Cry 3.
Goddamn.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That is one hell of an emotional roller coaster, because that game opens and you're like, no, I can't be playing this douche canoe throughout this game.
Yeah, those people were terrible.
They do everything perfectly about just like these are assholes, like basically on like a spring break, and they're partying up and they're doing shots, and it's very quick cut, and they've got MIA's Paper Planes playing, which is like your cliche, hey, everybody's in college and we're partying song.
Yeah, bro, let's do shots.
And and they show them jumping out of a plane, and all of a sudden the footage cuts to it looking like on a little video screen. And Voss, the main pirate guy in Far Cry 3, is like, boy, you guys fucked up.
Yeah.
And then you look and you're tied up, and your brother is tied up across the way and gagged, and you're like, holy shit. I mean, and it's a very like, it just kind of slams you, and then he is just berating you for just being a piece of shit.
He's the most
rich guy and
realistic, menacing character I've ever seen in a game before.
Oh.
I mean, he is like, oh man, I'm going to get out of here and fuck you up. I mean, that's my reaction as playing this character is like, oh, you were setting the stage. I'm gonna really fucking murder you.
He's a bully that's got all the power, and you have no power whatsoever.
Exactly.
And he lets you know that immediately. And it is like, and then of course, because it's a video game, you have to escape.
Yeah.
And there was a point halfway through that I'm just this guy, I'm just this character on the screen creeping around, and yet my heart was pounding.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was literally like, I'm gripping my controller too hard right now. I am so fucking stressed. And that's like, I rarely ever have that type of reaction as if like I am this character going through this ridiculous shit right now. Like, I get stressed because games get hard and I get frustrated and things like that. But I've never had that reaction where I'm like, this is so fucked right now.
It's almost... speaks to the strength of that opening scene that I'm disappointed that immediately afterwards you were not that same character exactly, because your emotions of constantly just be like, oh shit, that's fucked up, oh shit, you're constantly saying that. Everything you're doing is just like, I don't know. I'm in a horrible situation. I don't want to be doing any of these things. And unfortunately that's sort of stripped away once the open world stuff starts, but that opening part of it is just so consequential to the building of that character into who you're going to be playing as.
And there is so much gameplay stuff imparted on you during that sequence.
Yeah.
So many gameplay mechanics are like...
Yeah, it's the tutorial sequence, but it's so well hidden.
Yeah, it's very well hidden. It's like, here's all the things you're going to be doing, but no one's talking to you.
Think about this. My heart was pounding during a goddamn tutorial sequence.
Yeah. That's how
good
sequence.
They made the opening of that game.
Yeah. Plus, I love that Voss just punches that guy in the dick on his way back.
Yeah.
Out from it's just like if you're focused on the characters, you're not really paying attention to what's going on. But when he leaves the cage and is walking back, he passes that one guard and just punches him in the crotch. It's just like every time, man.
Yeah, that's what he says every time.
Got you every time.
Just that little moment is just like, oh, you're a dick.
Well,
you're that guy. I just want to hate you.
Similar to that, as I've actually finished Far Cry 3, so there are what is traditionally the worst part of any first-person shooter game or any other third-person shooter for that matter are turret sequences, right? We can generally agree.
Those are bad. Those are fun.
No, I like
too many
turret
of them
sequences.
is bad.
Too many of them are bad. Some of them are really bad. Like,
when your turret sequence is jerking you all over the screen, that's when they're bad.
Yeah, that sucks.
This game has two of my favorite ever. Period. And we know that sounds like a low bar to have to jump over, but there is one.
No, I played LA Machine Guns.
Yeah, there is one that. I'm trying not to be spoilery, but as you know, part of this game is rescuing friends and parts of your family and whatnot.
Parts.
You get
like an arm,
and
Uncle Ted's arm.
After you do a rescue, you basically do like, "Hey, drive! I'm going to get in the back and shoot," and they present you with a grenade launcher and the little infinity logo right next to it.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing in a game ever.
And like you've just been through the ringer and the shit and doing all this, and you're just like, every motherfucker is going to die.
I ain't gonna lie.
And
a lot of motherfuckers are gonna die.
The banter that is going on between you and the person that is driving while you're gleefully blowing things up.
I cannot wait for this.
Is just so good. Like, it's so good and natural, and it's just such a release after like how stressful this game has been and like where you've been at this point in the game and things you've seen. And then later there's another one like to even more gleefully release all of these emotions. I don't even want to spoil it. It's amazing. It's good. And again, it's a situation of like, hey, you drive. And yeah, it's a straight up, machine gun type turret sequence, but it doesn't matter. The music that plays and what is happening is just so joyous. And
is there any danger zone involved in it?
It sounds cliched.
That could be the best.
It sounds a little cliched, like what plays, but it doesn't matter. It's fucking awesome. And like the second happens, you're like, no, and then you're like, yes.
Just looking at your face makes me want to play this game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
it's good. It's really good.
Before we finish off with this category, I just want to throw an honorable mention to all of the Tiny Tina stuff in Borderlands. The whole Tiny Tina sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. It's a good section.
Sure.
Just
I know how much you like
brilliantly
Tiny Tina.
ridiculous.
Well, yeah, there's so many little touches like about her parents and what happened and all that stuff that's kind of in the periphery. If you're not paying attention, you don't notice it.
Yeah.
It's very cool
Well, I
how
like
they
that-
handle that.
I like that basically she gets her revenge, and then you learn why later. Like, I like that how that's presented in the game, and where you're just like, okay, this chick is fucked. And then it's like, oh no, she has every reason to do this.
Yeah. And how the whole lead up to her getting her revenge. It's just
Yep. Good stuff.
super.
So,
It's wonderful.
on that note,
Yeah, might as well just
my
go
favorite
right into.
characters this
best
year.
characters, yeah. Might as well lead with Tiny Tina.
Sure.
Hey, Voldater. Hey.
Fuck all you people who can't appreciate Tiny Tina or who cheated your way and got tired of her saying, there he is, flesh stick. If that's why you hate Tiny Tina, shut up. You don't have any say in this because you did that to yourself.
Sup.
You know, so I'm just saying, like, Tiny Tina is amazing. And
She is. And
Fuck
you
all
get
the
to
haters.
revisit in the
Yes, you
in the
do.
Mr. Torg's Campaign of Carnage DLC.
Speaking of,
Speaking of
Yeah, might as well. Mr. Torg.
Yeah.
My God, how do you introduce
Explosion!
how do you introduce such a great character in such a quick way and immediately make you love this character? I mean, like, from the second he starts talking, the way
Yeah.
that he's introduced on screen, it's like, yes, this guy, yes.
yeah,
If
if
you-
you purposely showed me the beginning of the DLC, and I was just like, I'm in. This
Yeah.
guy's awesome.
I don't know if any of you guys follow the EchoCast's Twitter account.
No.
But they have an EchoCast's Twitter account, and it started off with Tiny. I think it was it was Gage, the Necromancer, and then Mr. Torg took over the EchoCast account, and it was all in fucking all caps, and it was just fucking hilarious to watch all of it transpire.
Sounds like they get it,
yeah.
which
Yeah.
is good.
And
Yeah.
the new one's Hammerlock, so he's
Okay.
he's taken over it now, and he's
Oh,
like,
nice.
it's funny having him after Torg too, because
Right.
he's like very prim and proper, and like,
Yeah.
books are the most powerful weapon one can have. You know, it's good.
And we might as well wrap up the Borderlands 2 list on this is
The king of Borderlands 2, Handsome Jack.
Hey, and some Jack here.
I've I've never loved hating a character more than him.
him and Voss, I mean, are just neck and neck
Oh,
for
yeah.
like just biggest assholes who need to die.
No, it's a live horse made of diamonds.
Hey, butt stallion.
Yeah, so much stuff with Handsome Jack is just hilarious and yet pisses you off, and then just some of the shit he does later on,
Oh,
where you're
just-
just like, oh, you fuck.
Grinds
Rick.
it in your face.
Oh,
Excellent villain.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite all-time villains.
He's good.
That good.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I just mentioned him. Voss, Far Cry 3.
Yeah, speaking of villains.
oh.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there. That
And
guy's
like we
fucking
said
evil.
right off the bat, you're like, you need to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You need to die bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we just stated all the reasons. That
Yeah.
guy's pure evil,
Yeah.
but still kind of has a weird, interesting story arc as the game goes along too. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what's interesting. Is not just like, hey, here's evil personified. There's some more to
Well,
it and him.
And sadly, he's like a guy that could exist in
Oh yeah,
our world, in the real world.
Yeah, he could be like some douche you work with.
Yeah, if that douche was a pirate. But,
Well,
you know.
yeah, but I mean, no. I mean, there could be someone that douchey, just who
Oh,
thinks
yeah.
they're the shit and, they
Mhm.
live to menace you. Matter of fact, I probably worked with a guy like that before.
That's me.
That's probably why I hate him so much.
yeah, and no surprise to some other things that we've mentioned as far as favorite sequences. But Mass Effect 3, Morden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morden's great.
Yeah, Morden just gets better
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. It's not even the same voice actor. It's a different voice actor from 2 to
crazy.
3, which is remarkable that character stayed as consistent as it did.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah.
Props to them.
Yes, props to them. From a game I mentioned earlier, the Radio Man from Spec Ops: The Line, who is a pretty crucial character as that game goes along, played by Jake Busey,
Hey.
doing a remarkably good job. Like, not crazy overact. I mean, like, all of the acting in the game is really pretty good, but Jake Busey in particular, it's weird to be saying this, is really phenomenal at it. His character sort of has an arc throughout that game. He's crazy in the game, and you hear that throughout the game, but like there are audio logs that you find, which is sort of like the backstory of his character progression through the situation, and they're just fascinating because he's like this shitty reporter who ends up in a bad situation, and how his brain somehow deals with it, and he moves into this other role in this new reality that's popped up is fascinating. So, props to Jake Busey.
Yeah,
Jesus,
it's a phrase we don't get to say often enough.
Never comes
Also,
out.
props to audio logs.
Yes,
amazingly
exactly.
enough.
Yeah. Also, from a game I mentioned earlier, Binary Domain, there's the character of Kane, who is a French soldier robot who just sort of rolls up in your crew at one point. You're fighting all these robots, and all of a sudden, a model robot exactly like all the ones you've been destroying rolls up, and he's wearing like a beret and sort of a kerchief around his...
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
He's very stereotypically French. It's like a bad French accent, but it's fucking hysterical. And because he's a robot, he's clueless about shit, and he's always like barging into social situations and asking if he should leave, which is funny because he interrupts the situation to ask if he should leave instead of just staying out in the first place. All his scenes are great. His character doesn't really have a fitting end. And then there's Big Bo, who's the... What was the dude's name in Final Fantasy VII? The big
Sid?
the big black character.
Or no, not Sid. You had to put us on the spot like that, didn't you, Chuck?
You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You know how Japan sort of has a weird way of writing African American characters? They can't quite figure it out. This character is sort of like that. Big, stereotypical, muscular, black dude.
Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett.
And the game starts and you're just like, Jesus, this is embarrassing. This guy's just terrible. Who's writing this? Please stop. But then by the end of that game, first of all, they take him away for a while, and then you realize that you missed him. And then when he comes back, you're like, yay, Big Bo's back. And then he sort of has an arc that ends badly, and you're just like, oh no, I liked Big Bo. So for them to have this sort of badly stereotyped character sort of have this arc of he's gone, and you're not happy that he's gone, and then he comes back, and you're like, yay, he's back. Good job with that. So
nice.
You guys should really play Binary Domain.
Okay.
I have a copy.
And Spec Ops.
I got it for $10.
Oh.
So there you go.
Bring me the games. I will play them.
I shall bring you all of the games. BJ should do this next one because he says it better than anybody else.
The Oi, Witcher! Oi, Witcher! I've never even fucking seen it. And apparently I do it better than everyone else. Oi, Witcher!
That's all I remember from that opening sequence of that game is not knowing what was going on, walking out of a tent after having sex with a woman, and everybody in that area going, Oi, Witcher!
Yeah, whoever that guy is best character in The Witcher.
Oi,
because
Witcher!
Most memorable because whenever any of us mentions The Witcher 2, BJ says,
Oi, Witcher!
Right. So that guy,
Nice.
best character.
And just on stupid side characters, Pleasurebot from Borderlands 2.
Oh, Jax.
Zax. Innuendo. It was Innuendo Bot. That's what it was.
Or Innuendo Bot, that's what it was. Yeah, because there's a Pleasurebot somewhere else. That has to be reprogrammed, I believe, isn't it?
Well, there's Censorbot.
Censorbot is really good.
Yeah, but yeah, Innuendo Bot.
All of those random bots that they throw into Borderlands 2
Well,
are
like I said,
really fun.
Censorbot is the joke. That's the, like, who the fuck made them censor this mature rated game that they can't say certain things?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah. But now we get to probably the two best characters of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have this category without these two. And picking one of the two
is easy.
I think it's
easy for me too.
But I think our answers are different.
Okay.
It's Clementine and Lee.
Yes.
Well, those are the two, but I'm saying picking one of the two.
Lee.
No, Clementine is a better character.
Clementine's
No.
better.
Lee
character.
is you. You can't pick yourself as the best character of the year. Lee is only as
Yes,
good
you can.
or bad as you decide for him to be. And so that's silly.
And that's why he's the most
I
fully
know.
fleshed out character.
Well, it's because it's
he
you.
has an
You
amazing
have 30 years of life experience.
yeah, but he has an amazing backstory.
Yes.
And he's amazingly well acted.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, Clementine is a fully fleshed out character that exists, and you can't change her, per se.
Not only that, but Clementine is one of the first realistic kid characters in any kind of media whatsoever. Movies, a television show, video games, anything. This is not some precocious, know-it-all, fucking written by an adult thing. This is an actual child faced with a horrific situation and acting exactly like a kid in this situation probably would. Detached and depressed at certain times, eager and excited about other things at certain times, sort of blocking out all the bad in the world and concentrating on the good. Don't get me wrong, Lee is one of the 2 best characters in The Walking Dead. However, I just think in terms of writing and in terms of storytelling, everything that you are doing, every decision that you are making, every action that you take is for that character. And without that character, the game is no good. If you were not protecting that child, that game loses 50% of its memorableness.
I can be Lee or somebody like Lee in almost any other game. I mean, I can choose, like, I feel like my Shepard isn't much different than Lee.
Shepard.
You know, like, I played him so Paragon, and so, like, I'm going to talk my way down out of everything I can, and I will sacrifice myself if I have to, you know, kind of way of playing, that I feel like Lee, while he's great, and he has a good backstory, and specifically how he, I mean, you can make a choice, but then he, you know, expounds upon that and says other things, is great. But to have a driving force like Clementine, where it was like, by episode 3, it was like, fuck it, I don't care about anybody else in this game. I no longer care about these possibly expendable characters that I may not be able to save. I am saving that little girl.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think she's character of the goddamn decade. You know, it's just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, she is the thing. She is the plot point of that game. She's the driving force. That's why I picked her over Lee. Yeah. Because Lee is basically you. I don't disagree with
your
you.
argument.
I don't disagree with you saying it.
Lee is a better protagonist than Rick, even in the comic, for Walking Dead.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even though I am shaping the Lee that I want, he is still, with all of the circumstances that they present him with and the backstory and the way so many of the, even though you can change your attitude, the way you're saying things, I think it's still a central core of him that remains to a certain extent. There are very few situations where you can just do the badass renegade thing.
Yeah. I mean, the choices you are given are specific to his personality. You were sort of choosing a direction and applying your own morals and values to it, essentially. Yeah. But I just think in the end, I have so much control over that character that I can't necessarily say it's the best because it's me.
Okay.
That's...
Yeah. And I totally understand you guys' viewpoints.
Yeah.
That makes more sense when you guys have explained it that way, too.
Yeah. Not just... You're wrong.
No, but I still
Clementine.
think...
Hashtag Clementine, motherfucker.
But Lee's awesome. Lee is friggin' awesome.
Absolutely. Right? Like I said, one of the 2 best characters in The Walking Dead. Absolutely. Hands down.
All right. With that said... much shorter character...
Horses.
Yep.
Motion blur.
Yep.
Dubstep.
Horse blur.
Yep.
Dub horse.
Dub horse step blur.
Dub horse blur.
All right.
Derp. 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 Derp.
All right.
With that said, much shorter category here.
Almost brief.
Best DLC, because like we said, DLC is kind of... It is not what it used to be.
Yeah, it's not actually... Most of the time it's not content. It's map packs, costumes, blah.
Yeah.
Horse shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And
horse armor.
While from Ashes for Mass Effect 3, if you bought a new copy, you got it. But I guess it counts as DLC, but having that character is a big difference in the game.
Yeah, it was almost hard for me to not... it's like I don't even consider that DLC because it came with my game. However, that chunk of game is so crucial to that narrative that I just can't imagine it not being in the game. The fact that some people have to buy that separately is mind-blowing to me.
I mean, that was one of the things I geeked out the most when I was like, holy shit, I can find this stuff out with this character. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing that as the second I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and
that technically is pretty damn good DLC. It's just hard to consider DLC since so many people got it for free anyway.
What about true free LC?
Oh, you mean the
ending?
The revisionist history ending?
Free LC.
I mean, I get...
I'm back and forth on this one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's among the best DLC of the year or not, but it did... let's put it this way.
Okay.
It did what people wanted out of the ending as far as, why didn't you explain this? Why didn't you show what happened to this person? Why didn't you do this? it goes a little bit too far in that direction, and I don't like that it retcons out some of the stuff that they set up in the original ending, which is really kind of dumb. But to get a 1.9 gig patch worth of just endings is pretty crazy.
I give it
and
all
to get it for free.
Yeah, I give it all the credit in the world for giving me the resolution that I wanted on certain secondary characters. That's what pissed me off the most.
That's what pissed me off as
was like going through this entire trilogy with some like love interests and best friends and stuff like that you have specific moments with over the course of 3, like specific cutscenes and missions where it's just like, hey, let's you and me go hang out. You know, and let's talk about how everything is about to end, and you know, if we meet up in heaven, we'll meet at the bar. You know, hopefully your heaven is the same as my heaven, and let's do that. And then for the game to end and not even know if that dude is alive or dead.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
And so for this to come along and just to even insert that dude standing in a background, so you just go, okay, he's alive, great, okay, cool, I'm okay with that, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, the stuff that they changed, like sort of like, oh no, what you thought happened, that really didn't happen, even though it looked like that's what happened. We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen.
Well, I think they realize, like, if we're making a sequel, we can't do that.
Yeah, that's probably
that can't happen. Like, that has to be so.
Yeah. Part of me wishes they'd stuck to their guns. Another part of me is happy that
part of me wishes this had just been the original ending.
Yes, when it came out, my reaction was that so hard. Yeah, that was my first reaction. So, yeah, you know. I feel bad rewarding them with best DLC for this, fixing their fuck up.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not, because speaking of endings.
Yeah.
As has come up in most categories, Asura's Wrath, Part 4. The real ending of the damn game that they made you buy for $7 or whatever separately. Yeah. And that ending is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It completely changes how you view the rest of the game. However, I will say this.
Yeah.
On anything other than easy mode, it is the most frustrating gameplay sections of the game, one level after another. 4 straight levels of literally the hardest, most frustrating gameplay out of the game. Just bam, 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 bam in a row. But the story stuff that's going on amidst that, fucking crazy. Crazy.
I like crazy.
Totes cray.
Totes cray,
bro.
I can't even like I don't even want to spoil any of it, but
this kind of sounds like the Mass Effect 3 stuff where it's like, it's really great, man, it sucks.
Well,
it sounds like it's got you could argue it either way depending on your mood.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating to me is like I got my ass kicked trying to beat the end of that game, but I was so satisfied by that ending when it happened because it puts the whole game in such a crazy context.
Good. I'm glad it's worth it.
Yeah. But it's criminal that they made that DLC.
Yeah.
Utterly criminal, because we talked about how there's a true ending if you get enough S ranks to get there.
Yeah.
That true ending is 60 seconds worth of teaser for the DLC.
Oh.
I'll just tell you that right now.
Bullshit.
It is bullshit, but getting that DLC is worth it.
All right.
So,
okay. Because it also keeps coming up in categories. Borderlands 2, Mr. Torgue's Campaign of Carnage.
Explosions!
Yep, that's it. That's why we love it. That sums it up.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Told you that one was short.
It was. All right, best downloadable game. Favorite downloadable game.
Best
FOTY,
favorite downloadable
FOTY
game.
DG.
Yep.
I got one I've never talked about that I will talk about very quickly.
Okay.
Whoa.
Because I had been eyeballing it for a while, but it was like $5, and I was like, again, with my how we've reprogrammed our heads.
Good job.
Like, well, there was no demo. I couldn't know for sure that they could pull this off, but there was an iOS app for Bloons Tower Defense, and it happens to be Part 5. This is a Flash game. I used to waste hours upon hours and hours playing at work, because it's something you could sit in the background. It's like you'd do a level, these balloons would come out, you'd pop them, and then it was like you had like a pause button between every level.
Sure.
So it was like, okay, set it up, let it run. Okay, good. Now I can go back and doing something. So it was like a good, I need 30 seconds of distraction between doing work.
Mm-hmm.
And
they made 5 of these.
Yeah, apparently this is the 5th one.
All right.
Just, they have like new towers and new tower. It's a tower defense game, basically.
New balloons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure you get your money's worth on both sides.
There are monkeys that must pop balloons. This is the game. But it's made
Continue speaking.
It's made by a company called Ninja Kiwi. They've made other good games.
Go on.
I'm liking
And
all of
Ninja
this.
Kiwi.
Yeah, and
Ninja Kiwi
went on-
balloon pop.
it went on sale for 99 cents, and
Oh, wow.
I would have gladly paid $5. It's just one of those things, like, with no demo, with no light version to try it out, to
Sure.
even know that it... Because I was actually curious if, like, the iPad could even handle this game, because like it could slow your computer down towards the end level because there'd be so much shit going on the screen at one time.
So many balloons.
Yes, and it does, like when you get like around level 85 out of 100, it can get a little slowed down on your iPad, but
Man.
it's still great if you like tower
That's a
defense
lot of
game.
balloons.
Yeah. Well,
That's
since
a
we're speaking
Balloon.
of those and games that kind of can crash
Mhm.
your iOS device, Army of Darkness Defense.
Yes,
Did you just crash your iOS device with
I-
Army of Darkness Defense?
I have crashed it.
I've done that.
Yeah, doing
Your phone will get, or whatever, will get pretty goddamn hot when it gets way up there.
yeah. When you're doing the infinite
Great.
mode,
Let's
I
reward
have-
that.
well, yeah, I lost my highest score because the goddamn thing crashed. Because I had spawned so many things on screen to kill all the creeps that were coming that yeah.
Man,
But that game it's free
Mm-hmm.
this game is hot.
and it is it is fun. It's
I have every
so
achievement on the iPad version.
Oh god,
really
Yes.
I need to
Games
reset
we
my
played
game.
more than we probably
Oh,
should have.
no. I need to reset my game just so I can do that.
Yes.
That was the only complaint I have is that you have to reset your game in order to go back and play the
It's
older
not that big a
levels.
deal to go back up.
I know.
I reset it like 4 times.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm just the weird completist type who's like, no, I have to keep all that shit. But yeah, but that game's so good and for free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One Chuck and I like, but Harlow does not. Rock Band Blitz.
Oh,
Talk about a great way to use a massive amount of DLC that you already have.
Yeah, I think as we said when that game came out, this is a fine last ditch effort to squeeze a few more dollars out of the Rock Band license. And you know, speaking about games that we probably played a lot more than we should have, I played a lot of that game. I got into a groove where I felt comfortable playing, where I thought I'd figured it out. Like I'd found the power-ups that I liked and it was like, oh, I forgot this song is in Rock Band. Oh, I forgot this song is in Rock Band. And was revisiting my library. But all it really makes me do is want to play Rock Band.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've cooled on it somewhat.
I haven't played it in months, but
Yeah, but I mean, that first month, I loved it, and I was playing it a lot.
Yeah.
And I've kind of backed off from that, and I don't put in nearly as much anymore. And if I do play new tracks, I'm going to play them in Rock Band, like you said.
yeah.
It really only, and I hate to denigrate it because it's not bad per se, but it really only felt like a novelty to me, like just a trinket.
That's totally valid.
yeah. It like I said, I
mean,
dislike it so much because it breaks my OCD. Like I can't handle a game that you can't
Get
perfect.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I see things going by, I'm like, I have failed, and my
Right.
brain goes blank.
I had to get over that. I was having a lot of problem with that at the start. I was just like, no, I can't move off this lane because there are still things to hit.
Yeah.
But overall, I think, you know, for what Rock Band is at this point, that's probably the best they could do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, nice.
I was waiting for the Rock Band saxophone peripheral, and then
Yeah, you can thank
You
Activision
can keep
for
waiting.
fucking killing
Yep.
music games.
Dickheads.
Sons of bitches.
pedal
Yeah.
steel guitar for Rock Band Country.
Yep.
Yeah. We've talked about disappointing and everything, but I think we'd be remiss to not mention that we've gotten a lot of play out of this is Pinball Arcade and all its various and assorted brokenness.
Oh, yeah.
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 It's
the hell out of
it's
it.
still a 2012 game. It sounds like we've been talking about it a lot longer than that, but even the core pack. I mean, we played the ever-loving shit out of Theater of Magic and Ripley's and,
Yeah.
And the fact that we
and
get
shitty
to
Black
I
Hole.
would have paid
but-
$10 just for Theater of Magic.
Yeah.
fuck yes.
So I mean, you know, various
Shut up.
devices have other tables, and I'm enjoying the fact that the PS3 and Vita have some more than less than the 360. You know,
One day,
whatever.
Just the
360
I
will
mean,
rise again.
the ambition and for all their fuck ups, the amount of care
Their hearts are in the right
that they
place.
put into
Yeah.
to trying to do the right thing
Yeah.
is really admirable in essentially a world that mostly gives zero shits about pinball.
Right.
Yep.
there's this little tiny flicker of a flame on a hill.
Yeah. And there are pinball purists that are just like, don't even want them doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
but
that are angry. Yeah, there's an angry mob.
There is.
It's because
there's
of
a
them.
large angry mob. Yeah. There's a small there's a small group of people like that keep building the fence around around these people.
It's a tower defense game.
Yeah,
and then the rest of the earth is cold and uncaring about it.
Pinball.
Yeah.
But
well, and half this podcast owns pinball tables now.
Yeah,
and we can, I would say, directly credit Farsight for that.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
The other half kind of really wants them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, had that game not come along, I would not give two shits about pinball.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you guys were sort of high on Pinball FX before I was. And then this came out and I was like, dude.
Ours goes back more to Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Williams Collection Hall of Fame.
Still Farsight.
Yeah. But yeah, this thing coming along really is just what, for some reason, gave me that itch.
Yeah. And, we went to the pinball convention, which I never, ever would have actually
PinCon.
done. Yeah. I never would have done that, like, had this not come along and ignited that sort of fire.
Same here.
So, yeah. I mean, fuck ups aside, it's still got to be on the list.
Yep.
Difficulty games? We have some. We like them. We like Trials, but we like Trials Evolution even more because there's more difficult and more varied levels.
Y'all speak for yourself on this fucking game.
Trials Evolution is more of what you wanted, just better. Though
more varied levels, more different types of
it still
challenges.
ramps up that difficulty, and it still catches itself in that trap of, we want you to be precise and only ride this one way.
Yeah.
But it's still fun as hell.
Getting up to that point.
For the 75% of the game before that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know how many stupid hours I sunk into that game. But man, am I glad I did. Up until it got to that point where restart, restart, restart.
There's a couple of those.
There's a lot of those. And like some of those levels, I still have no idea how anyone gets platinum. Like even the very first level of the game, how anyone gets platinum, I have no idea. Like which bike they use and what they do and all that. Like it is a mystery to me that people can play that game that well.
It's still amazing to me that I actually like this game and hate something like Super Meat Boy so much. Because like I said, it's like I feel like this one ramps you up to the difficulty instead of like, bam, it's hard right away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does.
But I also have no problem hitting that point and going, yeah, no, I'm done. I've gotten my money out of the game. I know I'm not going to do these super hard tracks, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And also, I mean, there's also like Super Meat Boy for me. There's a small amount of joy that you can get from fucking up in Super Meat Boy. And it wears out really fast.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But in Trials, there's just some really goofy shit that happens on the way to fucking up. And
yeah, the ragdoll physics are still fun.
It just makes it, it makes it fun to fuck up sometimes.
And the fact that you have to use some of those to get those squirrels that they've hid throughout the game.
Oh, yeah.
You have to wreck certain ways so that
your guy flies. I've even never found a squirrel.
Yeah.
There's one they give you automatically.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
like
nice.
If you finish one of the levels,
a squirrel jumps into your lap.
No, it's just like, how whenever you beat a level, your guy just inevitably runs into a spike.
Oh, yeah. He just keeps going as soon as you cross the finish line.
Yeah, so...
Well, my favorite one is like you hit the end and it's like you're just in this little valley and then like you notice that you just sort of ran over this tripwire. So you're like, yay, I didn't die. All of a sudden it's like, boom. It just falls from off screen.
Yeah. And it's one of those cases where it's just like something blasts you somewhere else. And yeah. For me, shout out for Fez in that I love the art direction and the music in that game. And it's just a cool aesthetic and a cool mechanic for playing it. But, like I said, it kind of lets you down as far as what the ending does.
Yeah, don't read too much into it.
Yeah, really. Just play it as a fun little puzzle game. Yeah. And you'll get a lot more out
of it. Watch Lost. Don't try to make sense out of Lost.
The more I think about Fez, the less I like it.
And that's totally understandable, too.
Stop thinking about Fez.
It's got a gimmick, and I think the gimmick was clever as hell. After that, there was nothing special about it. Like, oh, sweet, I can turn the world. Oh, that's neat. I can jump on that and I can turn around. Okay, I'm done.
It's a game that picked a cool mechanic and made a fun game out of it. Made a fun puzzle game out of it, in my opinion.
Okay. I will let you have your opinion this one time.
Sweet.
I wanted to shoehorn this game into another category because
Why not?
yeah, it barely even counts because it might not really be a 2012 game anyway. But but Cards Against Humanity is actually a downloadable game because you can download the cards and then print them out. But you can download the game,
Right?
So it's free LC.
and it's free. No, yes, actually, the expansions are free LC.
Free LC.
Free LC.
There you go.
So Cards Against Humanity. Congratulations, you got 2 noms.
Standing.
Two NoQuarters.net FOTY noms.
Good job, guys. Certificates in the mail.
Nice.
You can download your certificate
Yeah.
at
And
noquarters.net.
print it out. We should make certificates
Best
for these.
downloadable
I just thought about it.
certificate.
Hey, quit making work for me. Yeah. Mine, Journey on PS3.
Mm-hmm.
Journey is a phenomenal little 2-hour game that does exactly what the name promises. It's you go on a journey through a very cool world and a very beautiful world. And sometimes you have a friend with you and you learn how to play the game with them, and then sometimes you don't, and that's
Just like
fine
life.
too. Yeah. But it's like I said when we first talked about it way back when, it's like you almost learn how to communicate without words and just through the jumping actions of the game and the little chirps that you can do.
Oh, yeah, the chirping. I forgot about that.
And it's
Ping.
Yeah.
there's something very you just don't get that in games where games so much hold your hand and force you to do things a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one is very much kind of lets you loose in this world, and just the design of the world guides you to where you need to go. And you can explore as much as you want, or, main line straight through the quest as much as you want. But it's weird that there's also an emotional journey to it too by the end of it. I mean, that is, we've talked about great sequences. I probably should have mentioned the very ending of Journey, because the way that game ends is fucking amazing. And it's made almost even more amazing when you have someone else there with you going through that. But yeah, if you have a PS3, you need to download Journey, in my opinion. And there's also another game you should probably download that we've talked enough about, but Walking Dead, downloadable game.
It's just not fair not to mention The Walking Dead in this category because it is a downloadable game. And if
It is
we're
where it
talking
started.
best downloadable game, for me, it's The Walking Dead because it's the best game that's downloadable.
Yeah. And I guess it could have won best DLC for episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, technically, those are DLC. So congratulations,
And I'm
Walking
glad
Dead, for
I'm
sweeping the
glad
last two
Telltale learned
categories.
their lesson and did it that way too.
It was smart. They worked around the Xbox stupidity.
Well, yeah, after getting fucked with Wallace and Gromit and Sam and Max, the way they had to put those things out.
Yeah. I mean, Back to the Future never came out on the Xbox because it was so fucked.
Yeah. They learned.
Yeah.
They learned, and they've reaped the rewards.
Yes. Reaping.
All right.
The reaping.
So,
Time.
I'm
Time
here
for the reaping?
yes.
Yes.
The reaping.
The reaping is happening.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
The FOTY.
We're gonna reap you a new asshole.
What?
I don't know.
No.
It just
No.
came to my head.
God, don't.
No.
I've turned the filter off for the last category.
There we go. The FOTYs, our favorites of the year for
Yeah.
2012.
Motherfucking FOTYs.
Right.
Voties. BJ and his year of game. We'll let you go first.
Oh man. Obviously, it's going to be a short list. I'm only going with 3 noms. And that's Dishonored,
Uh-huh.
Borderlands: The Deuce,
Uh-huh.
and in a surprise dark horse, come from behind victory. Yeah, it is the year of the horse. Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
Yeah, you played the hell out of that game.
I did.
God, that doesn't feel like it was this year even.
It doesn't, and
Oh, but it
I
was.
didn't even think it was this year, and I looked it up like 45 minutes ago,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit, that was this year.
Yeah.
I put that on the list.
That whole state has been bankrupted since that game came out.
Yeah, exactly. It really was a reckoning for Delaware, I guess it was.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, there you go.
Even worse.
Tiny states.
Yeah.
They all look the
that-
same.
Yeah, that's just like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles up there.
What?
When you look
Look
at
at
the
a map,
when you
Chuck.
when you look at the map
at
and
a
all
damn
those
map,
really teeny tiny
dumbass.
states have a bunch of different colors on them.
Gotcha.
Looks like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
I get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Use your imagination.
No, I'm
Jesus,
there.
Chuck.
I don't need imagination. I got it now.
Apparently not.
Fucking Fruity Pebbles. I'll never look at a
No.
map the same way again.
Yeah.
Don't.
So are you saying
hungry.
Koa Reckoning is your actual favorite of the year? Is that what you're saying? Or were you just saying that?
No, I
It's a spoiler
wanted
to
to
even make the list.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't even expect it to make the list, but
you played a damn large amount of it.
I did almost everything in that game, but and I will apologize in advance to Dishonored for not having played it enough, because it's a really fucking good game. Like, it's really phenomenal. The game that satisfied me most, though, this year so far has been Borderlands 2. And big homer for the franchise, I guess it is now. But it really did everything I wanted it to.
You're biased.
And
I can't take anything you say seriously.
Whatever, shut up.
Yeah, but they pulled it off.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to be as satisfying as it was. And they did some things really, really well. They had some stumbles, with the difficulty of the game is just off the fucking charts in some points, which is not that satisfying. But but everything else they nailed. They managed to keep that same just joyous fuckery tone from the first one, and I honestly thought that it would be kind of a fluke. It wouldn't be as ridiculous because, kind of the first out of the gate sort of thing.
Sure.
I thought they would try to grab maybe a wider audience with a little bit less insanity, but they doubled it.
They ramped it up.
Yeah, they doubled it, and they really ran with it and expanded on a world that I didn't know that they could expand on as well as they have. So, well done. You get my FOTY.
Okay, I have 5 nominations, one of which will win. So, Forza Horizon, which just for a racing game that I did not expect to be in the top 3 racing games of 2012 to actually be one of my favorite racing games of 2012. I loved every minute I spent in that game, and I want a lot more of it. I that's almost a game I will go back in and play without the reward of achievements and just play through the career again because I enjoyed my time in it that much. So, also, as we've talked about a lot, Asura's Wrath. I haven't played the DLC ending or any of that stuff. I got to what the game calls the fake ending and stopped and was just like, I feel pretty good about this. The ending is sort of bullshit, but the journey was fun. And it's fucking crazy. Spec Ops: The Line, which, as I said, is up there with Blops as being one of my favorite military shooters, and it has something to say, which is remarkable. Mass Effect 3, for all of its faults, which all lie at the end of that game, I cannot forget all of the goodness that it did before that. There are some wonderful moments in that. They got the game right. The combat finally feels like it works, and man, just some of those powers in that game, just throwing dudes and blasting them with superpowers and stuff, feels really good. I mean, super satisfying. But as should come as no surprise if you've listened to, I don't know, the past 3 or 4 months of podcasts, my favorite game of the year is The Walking Dead. For all the reasons I've stated previously.
Made you cry.
Yes, it did. It made me cry like a child. And I think I'm at the point now where I am more focused on the overall experience of a game. Games have proven they can give an experience. It's not just collect points. It's not just get from point A to point B. Games have proven that start to finish, they can tell a story and take you along with it, and it's believable and all that. And I think The Walking Dead is the pinnacle of storytelling in game, and I am impressed as hell by it. I think it's just absolutely wonderful. Might end up being my favorite game this generation. Me and Rock Band are going to have a talk. But
big words.
I'm not ready to make that decision yet. I'm ready to say that The Walking Dead is my FOTY.
Well, I might have some words.
Give me some words
to say about that.
Okay,
so going down the list beforehand. Mass Effect 3, again, for the same reasons you just stated. It's the journey up to, not necessarily the ending. I can't fault it for that. Black Ops 2, because I'm simply going to put this on a list of favorite as to how much I played.
Okay.
I think the single player is weaker than the first one, but I have played the ever-loving crap out of the multiplayer, so it deserves a spot on this list. Same reasons for Diablo 3. Just, I mean, that pretty much delivered exactly what I wanted, played a whole lot of it, and could still go back at any point in time. Now, here's where it gets a little shocking. I'm putting The Walking Dead on there, but I'm kind of reading up in my order, so this is actually number 3 for me.
Okay.
Because if I were giving it an award for story, this would win everything. Unfortunately, I am talking about a video game, and this is not my favorite to play video game by a long shot, because there are a lot of control problems. I understand that it's almost impossible to do this in any other medium as far as making the choices and having them play out like they do. But I almost wish it was another medium. Like, I mean, I almost wish that it was simply like an interactive choose your own adventure thing, because the control schemes and doing things like when they make you shoot or do things like that, it's like they're very poorly done.
Yeah.
I will not argue that. There are times when that game sort of opens up and is like, you've got a gun. Now you've got to stop this situation from happening.
Yeah.
I will admit I died 2 or 3 times because I didn't understand what the game was telling me to do. Like where my focus is supposed to be.
Yeah, there's certain times where you have to highlight a zombie attacking you and then find that point on the zombie to hit the button on. And within like 2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I mean, like I said, it's. I'm not trying to fault the game for what it did, because it is one of the most interesting, fascinating stories ever told in any medium, I think, ever. But as a game, it has faults, more so than I think that my other 2 favorites have.
I can't argue against that.
Yeah, because I mean, I think an equally, not equally, I mean, a very strong story that also has a very, very fun game attached to it is the one that's the new to the list. It's Far Cry 3. That is a fantastic story, a fantastic game. It's exactly the kind of thing I like out of an open world game. So yeah, I mean, that's number 2 on the list. It's even above Walking Dead. It never affected me the same way. I mean, it has strong moments, but nothing on the level of Walking Dead. But yeah, I mean, if I'm going for favorite of the year simply on hours played and quality of game, I'm in accordance with BJ. It's Borderlands 2. I've played the ever-loving crap out of that game, and I may have soured a little bit with the latest patch, and you know it's gotten a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but I can't discount the 100 or plus hours I've played of that game already.
Sup?
I mean, that's 2 games coming out of left field, because this is the first time I've actually played through The Walking Dead now. I mean, I played, I think, 1 episode that I talked about before, and then I've just marathoned the other 4 here since last talking.
And you didn't commit suicide. Congratulations.
Oh, marathon's too strong a word. I mean, I put some distance between like 2, and then I played 3, and I played 4 like a couple days later, and then it was like, well, fuck, now I got to play 5.
Well, you finished it without committing suicide.
Yes,
Congratulations.
Yes. 3 of the 4 of us have done that.
I'm just glad that you made the effort to play The Walking Dead, because your complaints about the gameplay are accurate, and to some people, they would go even further and say, well, it's not even really a game. So I'm glad that you experienced The Walking Dead.
Yeah, like I said, I hate to fault it for that, because I do think it's a fantastic experience.
Sure.
It's unfortunate that it can't exist in some other medium. Like, I wish all the parts of walking around, because none of the adventure game parts of it were all that difficult. It was always like,
no, because there's big giant orbs on the screen telling you where to put your cursor.
I mean, kind of. I mean, like, you know, like simple thing is like, hey, you need to get across the street from rooftop to rooftop, and you like look around for 2 seconds, like, well, there's a ladder over there. Like, why not just, you know, like,
a lot of times it's the adventure game. There's only one interactable object. In this
I mean, it's like you can either bother the other character in the scene over and over again, or you can go and click on the object.
Yeah, well, I think obviously they put story at a premium. You know, the preference is for that, and I think like the puzzles are just, some of them, like the ladder to the bell tower one, are just like an excuse to have a gameplay portion and to lock you into an area. It's much less than, you know, just figure out what to do. You know, I mean, the part I got stuck the most on was on the very first episode, because I kept trying to do everything in the drugstore and didn't just go out to the hospital where they or the hotel where they told me to go.
Yeah.
So I was walking around the drugstore going, well, how do I open this damn door?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't open the door to get outside. And then I forgot, oh, yeah, that's right. Lee told me I could go to the hotel. And,
right.
Yeah. Well, even worse than that, there was one where you're doing something and like you're outside and you're like, how do I get up here? And you have to hit a very specific part of walking around before you realize you can walk around to the front of the car. There's a little tiny section that will all of a sudden trigger a different little like cut scenario where it's like, oh shit, I would been walking around the car, but you've like hit these couple of pixels, all of a sudden camera shifts and you're, you know, zoomed in on this car to do something. And it's like, well, fucking hell. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like I wouldn't notice this if it wasn't just for kind of shoddy controls here.
Sure.
All right. I got 5.
Okay.
I got some runners up though too, but
Wait, what?
I'm just going to say now,
Fucking
Mass Effect
overachiever.
3 and Borderlands 2 are my runners-up.
Okay.
Mass Effect 3, while I appreciate the Tuchanka section, and any game that has that is going to be on my favorite of the year list, there's a lot of fundamental stuff that they fucked up in that game. Mostly the galactic readiness and making it feel like all you're doing is adding to a number rather than making decisions that matter.
This is kind of
and
dumb.
that was bullshit.
Yeah.
And that was frustrating. And it just feels like that game was not done and they cut corners to get it out. And
I think it was more a case of putting the multiplayer in there.
It could be.
And coming up with some gimmick to tie it into the main story.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
That's it. But there are just fundamental issues that has.
Yeah.
Borderlands 2, despite how much I've played it, and that's way up there as far as games I've played over the course of the year, it's not quite there for me. I mean, obviously, I have the bad taste in my mouth from that patch fucking things up. Granted, that's been fixed now, but it's also...
That really...
Like I said, that game is the best 4-star game I've ever played, but it's not a 5-star game. It's too much of an MMO. There's too much grind. It's no fun single player. That game to me is only fun when I am with other players. And that there's a fundamental flaw there that I can't quite reconcile. And that's the only reason it's not on the list, because presentation-wise, they do just about everything right in that game that I wanted in an improvement from Borderlands 1. Like every improvement I would hope they had made, they've made for Borderlands 2. But, Borderlands 1 is also an amazing 4-star game that's not quite a 5. At least for me.
Okay.
So, with that said...
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah. Walking Dead, obviously, for everything we've talked about, they pretty much among the best characters written for a game ever. I mean, almost everyone, even people that are only in like half a chapter, are memorable to me.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing. And just, being able to shape and role-play your character, that feels to me like a true role-playing game, in that you create your Lee by the way he interacts with these people. And it's much less his actions and more how he deals with everyone else and how he treats everyone else in that game. After that, Forza Horizon, which kind of just knocked my socks off as far as being as good as it was and making racing as fun as it does, and still having it have a whole bunch of depth to it, but also having a whole bunch of accessibility, which is incredibly hard to pull off. But that game seemed to pull it off, like almost, it feels like effortlessly. Like you just jump in and you're ready to go. And that's pretty friggin' awesome.
What do you think about it? It's like pretty much the only game the four of us have all played.
Yeah.
It's the one game we were all like, everyone must play this game.
Yeah. And every time I put it in, it is like Burnout Paradise for me. I put it in and I want to play it for like a dozen hours straight. Like I don't want to shut the Xbox off once I put that game in.
Yeah.
One that hasn't even come up today, except for one thing, is SSX. If we go by hours played in a game this year, I think SSX takes the cake for me.
Really?
I played so much SS. I have all 1,000 points in that game. And if you look on True Achievements or whatever, that's crazy.
See, I thought you just burned through it really quickly. You spent a lot of time with it?
Yeah.
All right.
like I put off finishing Mass Effect 3 because I was playing SSX.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right, because I was mad at you.
Yeah, we were like, we want to talk about
Yes,
this.
finish Mass Effect 3, goddammit.
Yeah, like that is the level of addiction that SSX had on me. And it's a case of, I am a fan of the old SSX games. I tried to play them again, and if you're not into the way those systems work, they're terrible.
Uh-huh.
But this new one took everything that I liked about the old ones and gave me updated controls that work with new controllers and made me enjoy the new ones. Even though there are frustrating sections of those games, I think there are certain sections that they designed really terribly that they should have not done the way they did, where there's endless crevasses to fall in and
Wow, fill it.
just ways to just piss yourself off trying to play it. But it's still, SSX was basically just about everything I could have asked for in a reboot of the SSX series. So I'm glad I played it, and I'm glad a lot more people have played it, and I'm glad I played it when there were people on the leaderboards constantly changing hands and sending challenges and doing all that stuff.
I wish that game had persisted.
And I'm surprised it kind of didn't, because it dropped to $20 fairly quickly, and I know a lot of people kind of picked it up, but once that activity dies off, there's not much left there, unfortunately. But
and so much time has passed. I picked it up for $20, sold it, and then picked it up again for $10 later. So,
nicely done, Chuck.
Thank you.
Journey, like I said earlier, is a phenomenal game, and it is one of the few games I would describe as art. In its style, in its presentation, in its music, in just about everything. They've toned it to a point where it's practically flawless. Like
Wow.
it's like they've shined this game up so much that when they put it out, you get the feeling we don't need a patch, we don't need anything. Like everything works and nothing stands out as glitchy or stupid that we've done. And they made drop in and drop out co-op effortless. I mean, it really is. It's just all of a sudden there's somebody in your game, and that the fact that they can't, and that they made multiplayer without griefing is still amazing to me that they pulled it off.
That is rather mind-blowing.
Yeah. And last one, of course, is Asura's Wrath, which has come up more than enough times. I don't need to talk about it anymore.
What is that game?
Let me tell you about this crazy Japanese game
No.
that I played
No.
with QuickTime events and
It
other
is the
stuff.
most Japanese thing in existence,
Yes,
apparently.
exactly.
And he's been to Japan.
Right.
Yep.
Japan!
We've all used that punchline now.
We have. And this is one of the closest ones. SSX is probably the only one that kind of falls off and wouldn't be in the but all the other
Fall into
four.
a crevasse.
Yes, exactly. All the other four, and that's part of why it falls off.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But all the other four are so close to me that I think it goes to Forza Horizon.
Wow.
Huh.
Only because Walking Dead, there's just enough glitchiness to me that hampered that experience.
Mm-hmm.
The darkness issues I had.
Yeah,
but
you had
like
some,
story wise, easily number one,
Mhm.
like without a doubt. But that was glitchy. Asura's Wrath still has some issues as far as
a bullshit ending, and then
Yeah.
a real bullshit
Yeah,
ending,
bullshit,
and then the
DLC.
$7
Yeah.
for real ending.
yeah. But for me, Forza Horizon is the game. Like, if you said pick one you want to play right now, Forza Horizon is the one that I immediately want to pop in the drive.
Hey, Mackie.
Forza, I know. Let's play Forza Horizon.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's wrap this up and do it. But yeah, Forza Horizon gets it from me.
Split decisions.
Yeah.
Can I just wanted to... I hate to take away from your giving of a FOTY to Forza Horizon.
Oh, shit.
But I feel like it's a glaring omission on my list
Yeah.
because I did play it and enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty good game.
Mhm.
So I just want to throw out the reason that it doesn't make my list
Yeah.
is because there was a Forza 4 the previous year.
That I get that. Because you
Yeah, I
played
can
the
understand
shit
that.
out of Forza 4.
I played a lot and
We're still playing the shit out of Forza 4.
yeah, mechanics wise,
Mm-hmm.
there's barely any difference to me from Forza Horizon or Forza 4 to Forza Horizon.
I get that.
It feels like it plays like everything gameplay wise is exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did no work on the engine at all. They just moved it into, a slightly different package. It's like
I can get that.
They took the engine from
sure.
from one car and put it in another car that looks just a little bit different.
Yeah. If I were making honorable mentions, it probably would have been on there, but I was already up to
Yeah.
6, and I was like, I'm going strictly on hours played,
And it's
or quality. Like I mean,
I'm not saying-
Walking
yeah.
Dead's yeah.
I'm not saying that to take anything away from the game because it's good. Obviously, that engine works. It's a great racing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great racing engine. They did a good job making it. Putting an interesting story into it because the Forza 4, there was no real story to
Sure.
it. It was just like, oh, you're a fucking race car driver. Go fucking race. But obviously, it was,
Fucking race car driver.
Well, Mackie,
You
let
know,
me ask you this. You played a lot of Forza 4. If you had to pick between the two...
Forza Horizon.
Okay.
it's easily way more accessible because of the way they did the quote unquote story.
Yeah.
And
Well, plus the outside non-track nature of most things. I mean, like,
yeah.
Yeah, like just getting to roam around.
Sure.
Whereas Forza 4 was, here's this season,
Get
this
on a
is the
track
race you're playing.
and drive. Get on a
Yeah.
track and drive. But
Sure.
yeah.
I get that. I could totally see two camps for that. Totally.
And like I said, doesn't take anything away from the game.
Still
but
really good.
yeah, still really good. Just didn't make it because it's.
And I'll say I didn't play as much Forza 4 as you did, and that probably contributes to it somewhat.
Sure.
I mean, I played it hot and heavy for like 3 months at the end of last year, and then kind of
It's because they kept sending
moved
you
on
cars.
to other stuff. Oh yeah,
Every day you'd have a new car in your mailbox.
that was true. And
Yeah. It's like, hey,
I should probably
car.
log back into Forza 4 and find more cars.
50,000
I'm sure there's more
cars
sitting
now.
there. But yeah,
Yeah, I guess we're not coming up with any unanimous FOTYs. That's we never do because we never play the same games or.
You know, my
I
favorite
think
of the
Red
year.
Dead was the closest to it that we had.
Yeah.
My favorite of the year is video games.
Yeah. Video games are pretty awesome.
Viva la video games.
See,
Yeah.
Also, Netflix and Cards Against Humanity.
Sure.
yes,
But no, I think you look at it, we all, well, except BJ who fucked it up, but the Walking Dead.
hey, I tried. Fuck you.
I know, that's why I was kidding, but you know, I think we
Shitbag.
all acknowledge The Walking Dead. We all pretty much acknowledged Forza Horizon. We all pretty much acknowledged Mass Effect 3, Borderlands 2. I mean,
And I'd say if I'd played Far Cry 3, I get the feeling that probably would have
I
crept
will
up
agree
the
with
list.
that.
yeah, and
Because
almost
from what
want
I
to-
played, I just didn't feel like I played enough Far Cry 3
Yeah.
to be able to put
I didn't
that
play
on a
it right.
list. But holy crap, the 6 or 7 or 8 hours that I've played so far are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can also say for once, everything that's on my favorites list is finished. Like, you know,
beat them.
they have all been beaten up to the point that they can be beaten. I mean, there will
Yeah.
be more Borderlands 2 DLC, but I can't
Yeah.
help that for now.
Right. Exactly. Good point.
Just move down to Texas and make them build it quicker.
Okay.
send them tweets.
Yeah.
Hurry up. Need more.
hmm
Unemployed, bored. Give it to me.
Well, guys, it was fun knowing you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end of the world.
Oh no, it's the end of the world.
Maybe
Oh, shit.
maybe Dikembe saved us.
That's
I guess we'll
if
find
you
out.
are listening to this past Friday,
Yeah.
There's been many hours added to the clock.
Hopefully we're all right.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to be okay.
Probably.
We're going to be okay, you guys.
awesome. That
tried-
means we'll get to play games next year.
I trust my iPhone over the Mayans, and it goes way into the future. I
Yeah.
just started scrolling the calendar, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Pff, I'm
Yeah.
good."
Yeah, because man, I want to play Bioshock Infinite.
Oh, yeah. Games coming out next year. And new systems.
Yeah, I want a new system.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Wait, are there new systems coming out?
They haven't said, but come on.
You have
Next
to come
year?
out.
No.
They have to come out
It'll be
next
8
year.
years since the Xbox 360
If they are
came
not,
out.
if there is not at least an Xbox on store shelves by Christmas, I will fucking I'll eat BJ's hat.
No, don't eat my hat. Eat
I'll
someone-
eat a random hat.
Thank you.
Someone
iPad.
send in a hat to
I
no
like-
quarters at.
I like this hat. Try to make your hat out of edible materials so we don't kill Chuck.
Yes, please send me a fruit roll-up hat.
yeah, that's a sweet hat.
It's like edible hat.
But I
Shit,
can
I just want
guarantee
a
you,
fruit roll-up hat.
I can guarantee you there will be a new Xbox next year, and it will come out in the last week of October because I'm getting married in the last week of October, and
Yeah.
won't be able to get one
You're not gonna-
until.
Why are
God
you
knows
ruining
when.
Halloween for us? The most selfish person on the planet.
He's not getting married on Halloween.
Signed
Yeah.
the most.
Let me get this right. You get to come to a party and eat free food, free drinks.
Wait, are you getting married on
dancing.
Halloween?
No.
Oh, well then fine.
okay.
See,
All right.
everything's okay.
Where is it?
I told you we're going to be okay.
All right.
We'll talk about where it is after the show. What's wrong with you?
I don't need crazy no-quarter stalkers showing up at my wedding.
Hey, guys.
You know, here you got video games. No, I don't. I'm getting married. I'm not allowed to do video games anymore.
Ever again.
The video games are over.
That will be the final episode of No
Yes.
Quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's our grand finale right there. So tune back
I will
in
give
for
my
that.
FOTYs of all time and then drop the mic and walk off into the sunset.
It'll
like
be
at the
your,
end of
FOAT.
Journey.
Yes.
Yes.
Vote.
Vote.
Oh, dear.
Or
All right.
it'll be his goat, his greatest of all time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's please just wrap this up. No contact information. If you made it
No.
this far, you know where we are.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because we're all
Thanks
dead
for
on Friday
listening.
anyway.
Thanks for listening. We look forward to more games next year, and hopefully BJ will get to play some of them.
Hopefully I get to do games.
And
Yeah.
hopefully I will too, and Chuck will surpass me in gamer score, and I will
By tomorrow.
quit, and I quit video games. So I got more than one excuse to quit video games.
Yay.
I think if I can just get past these next 3 seasons of how it's made, I'll be okay.
So send your money in now, folks. to
Marathon it.
Help BJ get past 3 seasons of how it's made.
All right, let's get out of here, gents.
Yes.
Happy
All right.
2012. I'm Mackie,
I'm BJ.
I'm Chuck.
And I'm Harlow.
and this is No Quarters out.